Holy shit. Oh, good. Now the camera's not working. What's up, everybody? Don't worry. I know how to fix this one. Jesus Christ. Everything is falling apart. The whole world is falling apart. I hope you enjoy my voice for a second. Should fix it there. There we go. Jesus. Jeez. I don't know what happened, guys. My whole screen went black, and then I tried to reload again, and then the camera wouldn't pull up anymore, and I had to change some settings, and now the camera's working, the mic's working, and I don't like being conspiratorial. I'm going to be conspiratorial, but it very well could be I'm just an idiot. So I also want to say to anybody out there who may understand why I might be having problems with my computer, why it would crash and just go black in the middle of a stream, let me know. If I need to update some equipment, we can go over that. If anybody is a computer expert and can walk me through this, I'd be happy to have your help. But it is weird that all these problems that we've had this week happen now that our federal government is saying they're going to go after people. So TikTok, if you want to do your thing, share it. Too much hub activity. I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what a hub activity is.
I know what it means.
What's what's hub activity?
Are you watching things you're not supposed to be on your computer?
I'm not. I strictly use my phone for that. Out of the because I am terrified that one day I'm going to search something on my computer and somebody's going to see my search history, and you're all going to find out that my kink is Mormon adult content, and I don't want that to happen. So you got to. There's no Mormon underwear. I'm not watching it.
I mean, that's very niche. So
I go to pretty protected sites there, but no, not on this. I don't do anything but work on this computer. I have a laptop that I do my personal stuff on. This is strictly work. So I don't know.
All right. So this is what I think. This is round 4.
Something like that. It's all missionary style. That's right. But Mormon missionary style, you also have to wear a name tag. It's a little different. It's not just your typical missionary. It's got to say elder in front of it, or sister. It's crazy. It's the only way I can come, though. It's not my fault. All right.
That's fun and gross all at the same time.
All right. One last thing before we jump into it. One last story here as people are rolling in. And I don't think I missed any super chats. I think I got 6 cents Amelia there. Don't think I missed any here. And I don't think I missed any here. All right, I think we're good. All right, this is the latest conspiracy now. This is what you're going to hear from Republicans today. Trump said, "Why was the wonderful turning point under investigation by deranged Jack Smith and the corrupt and incompetent Biden administration? They tried to force Charlie and many other people and movements out of business. They weaponized the Justice Department against Sleepy Joe Biden's political opponents, including me." It's always about you. They allowed the daughter of a judge, one of the corrupt. Now, do you see how quickly, why were they why was Turning Point under investigation? And he made it 1, 2, 3 run-on sentences before then. He's like, now we're going to completely abandon this because it's all about me all the time. They allowed the daughter of a judge on one of the corrupt trials against me to become the biggest fundraiser for Biden and Kamala, making many millions of dollars for herself and her family. That's unsubstantiated. But with her father, the judge, not only refusing to recuse himself, but putting a gag order on me, not allowing any talk about their family corruption and the unprecedented conflict of interest. Every leading legal analyst and pundit said this trial was wrong and should not have been allowed to go forward. But it did because of a corrupt judge who hopefully will pay a very big price. This guy's insane. This is a dictator. And why in America did we have to get the dumbest one? Maybe we're lucky. Maybe we got the dumbest one, and that'll save us some pain. But about 2/3 of this is about Donald Trump. Try to make it about Charlie Kirk. Let me tell you what this investigation is. They're talking about it's like Operation Arctic Storm or something. There's a bunch of conservative organizations who got permits and bussed people in to the January 6th rally that led to the attack on the Capitol. Turning Point USA was bussing people in. That was the investigation. They wanted to see if Turning Point USA had any connections to the people that planned January 6th. And it looks like they turned up nothing. So they simply were investigated because a historic crime happened in front of our eyes. And they investigated every right-wing group that was associated with that day to see if they had any connection. And that's the whole story. But victim complex by the Republicans. It's just every day wake up and be a victim. I woke up. Now I've got to go to Truth Social to figure out how I'm supposed to be a victim today. Oh, Donald Trump was prosecuted and he is our cult leader. We're all persecuted because Donald Trump was persecuted. That's what we're doing. All right, I want to get into this. I want to get into Kash Patel. Kash Patel had a very, very bad, no good day. No good, very bad day. Is that what it is? Here's Thomas Massey questioning. Oh, no, excuse me. This is before. Sorry. This is from a James O'Keefe interview. This was the introduction. I apologize. Here's Thomas Massey with James O'Keefe, kind of setting the stage for what we're going to see with testimony from Kash Patel today in front of Congress, where now multiple Republicans calling for him to step down. There's a lot of heat because Kash Patel's a child, and Kash Patel can't keep his anger under control, and it's being exposed that he's not in control of the FBI and that they're doing a very poor job. And it looks like he's using it like just so that he can kind of work part-time as the FBI director. Did you guys know? Yeah, he's still testifying, so we'll get more tomorrow. Did you know that he works from home? Remember, like, Doge is like, no government employees should work from home. Did you know that Kash Patel works from home like a third of the time? And that the home that he works from isn't his home? It's just this weird, like, he has this weird relationship with a mega donor in Las Vegas. And Kash Patel just, like, lives with this dude and then goes and works from home. Did you guys know that? I didn't know that. Fun thing I learned in these hearings.
This isn't about Donald Trump. It's about people who are actually richer than Donald Trump. And have a lot of influence because they give money.
Do people go up to you privately and, like I said, just say,
It's a
like,
weird cut. I don't know why they cut that.
I agree with you, like in this building, hey, I keep doing what you're doing, but I can't talk about it. Does that ever happen to you?
It happens every week.
Happens every week.
Yeah. People are like...
And you have to protect their confidence. You have to protect their anonymity because they're confiding in you that they secretly support you, but they don't want to say so publicly, for example, right?
Yeah, I mean, if I were to say that, then they would never confide in me again. And those are my closest friends.
Your closest
they're
friends.
only, you know, your enemies up here don't come and say, I think what you're doing is right, but I just can't be with you. I can't die on this hill. But your friends do.
Do you think that those people without...
It's an alarming thing to have a member of Congress say. Yeah, everybody knows that this is the right thing. I have friends coming up that are voting against this that say it's the right thing, but I can't die on this hill. You can't die on the hill to protect victims, to expose the deep, dark connections that kept Jeffrey Epstein out of jail and allowed to run his trafficking organization. That's a hill that Republicans aren't willing to die on. They're not willing to tell all of you, if there's Republicans that are in here still, why are you cool with them telling you that they don't want you to have the truth? And why, when they tell you that, do you get mad at us? And you're like, you didn't even care. We cared. Okay, well, now we all care. Whatever you think about that, now we all care. And your party's saying, sorry, you can't have the truth. And you guys are good with that? I don't understand why, if this was such a big thing for you, why are you not all calling your Republican congressman? Why are you not on the phone every single day saying you need to vote for this? Somebody said Darvo. Yeah.
Without naming any names, do you think that
Sorry, Paco Tucker says, so glad you're back. Always grateful for everything you do. I've learned so much from you. Please take care of yourself. Thank you very much.
they should be more brave and say it publicly, or it's just the nature of politics or the nature of human nature that you can't be public with that?
I mean, obviously, I would like for them to join me. For some of them, the political reality is they would probably lose their reelection if Donald Trump came against them. Some of them are here because they were in a 7-way primary and they got Donald Trump's endorsement, and that was their major redeeming factor in an election where there was no incumbent, so people went with the Trump candidate.
It's totally not a cult.
But they haven't been here very long, and so they haven't built a trust with.
No, Massey's not. No, Massey's still going. He's just explaining that these other people in Congress, that what they're saying, like why they're not voting for the discharge petition
With their constituents yet. And by the way, I might be losing my next election over this. You have to get in a headspace where you're okay with that. And too many of my colleagues are not okay with losing their next election if that's what it costs. You said, what's the name of your podcast?
Price is My Life.
The Price is My Life. Look, it's not even our life, right? The price is my reelection, I would say.
So you are resolved, or you are okay with that possibility?
Yeah.
Psychologically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just crazy that we're just talking about this, and it's reality. They're talking about it, they're laughing about it. Oh, it's just reality. We just pretend that we have democracy in this country. We just pretend that our elected leaders aren't in it to protect their power. Somebody said, like, if you think that Democrats and Republicans aren't both on that list, I think that was Eyes Open 5. Yeah, of course they are. But, like, only Republicans are blocking it. So that doesn't matter, right? You're either for the release of this or you're not. And if you're for the release of it and the people that you voted for are not for the release of it, why are you protecting them? Why are you focused on other things? What is more important than this? Currently, like, what other things are you focused on? You're focused on blaming the left for Charlie Kirk's murder. That seems to be the thing that you think is more important. It's more important to blame an entire group of people for the actions of a kid that was raised as a conservative than you are exposing a serial abuser and the dark connections that allowed him to keep operating. That's a weird thing that we have to deal with you guys every day. It's very strange that you don't want to talk about that. And every time we do talk about it, you guys are like, the Democrats didn't care. Okay, but like, can we just all care? I care. Do you care? If you care and I care, then maybe the people that we elected should care. It's like over 80% of America wants these files released. Like, I don't know if we've ever been more unified on anything ever. And what's keeping Republicans from releasing these files is they're afraid of Donald Trump, because all of you are loyal to Donald Trump. And when Donald Trump tells you to do something, you do it. So if they vote to release the Epstein files and Trump says don't vote for them, you'll do it. Why are you guys not out here saying any Republican who votes for this discharge petition, we will campaign for you, we will vote for you, we will advocate for you, we'll stand up against Trump for you because you voted to get the truth out? It seems like pleasing Donald Trump is the number one thing all of you want to do first. And it's the most important thing, to make sure that Donald, the fucking lunatic, doesn't come after you. And that he's happy. Dear leader's very happy. Also, Sophia said, my favorite person on YouTube. Yeah, you are, Jay. And keep up with the truth. You have our support always. I've learned so much from you. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much. And yeah, sorry, guys. We had some computer problems. And we are back. Just a reminder, you know how to find us if you want to help us accomplish our daily goals over here. There's different ways that you can help us accomplish that. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just look above you if you're on YouTube. If you're on Twitch, look over to what side's that? That's going to be the left for you, but my right hand. You know how to support us. Thank you very much. All right, let's get into almost the hearing. I wanted to show this because Maggie Haberman is an incredible journalist. And Maggie Haberman not only is a great writer, not only is a great investigative journalist, but she's also a great White House correspondent. And watch her push Caroline Leavitt here. Every reporter needs to learn from this and do what good reporters do, which is not to stroke the ego and the flaccid member of Donald Trump, but to ask difficult questions and get answers for the American people.
So what is the theory, since these documents came from the Epstein estate? Who is, I guess, in your view, faking these documents?
I did not say the documents are a hoax. I said the entire narrative surrounding Jeffrey Epstein right now that is absorbing many of the liberal cable channels on television is a hoax that is being perpetuated by opportunistic Democrats like Ro Khanna and the others whom you saw on that press conference outside of Capitol Hill, who are trying to push this hoax against the President of the United States.
This is fucking crazy. Okay, we all watched that press conference live. Specifically, they said they were not accusing Donald Trump of anything. Specifically, they asked Donald Trump to release it. Ro Khanna, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massie, not one of them mentioned Donald Trump's name except for the victim who said, like, we have no evidence that Donald Trump did any of this. So I'm confused where this hoax is from Caroline Leavitt, because this is also what every news organization is reporting. We're reporting that you guys aren't releasing it, and we're reporting what the victim said. And there are zero claims from any of these victims who have come forward currently that are saying Trump is in them. Now, there are allegations from Katie Johnson, for example, that should be in those files, and we assume are in those files, but nobody's making that accusation. None of those people at this press conference are making that accusation. So what's the conspiracy theory? What's the lie that the media is presenting? Republicans, tell me who in the media is lying and creating a conspiracy here. Now we're wondering. Now we're saying, okay, we know for sure that he's in the files, which is going to be confirmed by Kash Patel later. It's been confirmed by her. It's been confirmed by Pam Bondi. It's been confirmed by Donald Trump himself. So we know that he's in the files, and we know that he's blocking the release of them, and we know that he publicly threatened Republicans who voted who were going to vote for the discharge petition. Those are all the things that we know. What are they talking about here? What is this hoax? The question was, like, are you saying that what these women are saying a hoax? She's like, no, that's not a hoax. Are you saying that the book with the drawing in it is a hoax? No, obviously that's not a hoax because that's real. What the fuck is the hoax? What's the hoax here? I think you guys know. I think you all know that Trump is in them and he will look bad, and it doesn't matter to you. It is more important to you that Trump be allowed to continue doing what he's doing and be the cult leader of this party than it is that we get the truth. I've lived this. This is my reality. The shooter of Charlie Kirk has lived this. Living in the state of Utah, when the leaders of the Mormon church were accused of doing things like hiding the money that the Mormon church had, covering up the sexual abuse from the Boy Scouts, covering up sexual abuse by bishops over and over all across the world, covering up the sexual abuse committed by Mormon missionaries. They all say the same thing. The Mormons all said the same thing. It's not about the leaders. You guys are just trying to make the leaders look bad by talking about this. And the Mormons wouldn't talk about it. They wouldn't talk about the sexual abuse at all. They pretended it didn't happen. And then when you brought it up, they said, oh, you're only doing this to smear. And that's a glimpse into Mormons, and it's a glimpse into you, and it's a glimpse into every cult, that even the insinuation that the leader of your party is doing something improper or illegal, or in this case, evil, makes you guys shut down. And instead of addressing reality, you start saying, oh, well, we don't want it because Dems want it, and they're not going to tell the truth. I don't care. I would never care if a Democrat, like if Joe Biden was on that list, and this was happening with Joe Biden, I would be demanding Joe Biden release the files. And I would think, I don't know anybody in here who would go along with that, because Joe Biden wasn't a cult leader. Nobody looked at Joe Biden like he could do no wrong. I don't know anybody on our side of the aisle who didn't criticize Joe Biden openly. But this is bizarre behavior from Caroline Leavitt. She's calling, what is the hoax?
What exactly is the hoax? I'm just trying to understand what's fake. What's fake is not the documents.
The hoax is the Democrats pretending to care about victims of crime when they do not care about victims of crime, when they have done nothing.
Okay, so we can't release it because Democrats don't care. Democrats are demanding the list be released. Republicans are blocking the list, and this is a hoax. The hoax is that the Democrats care. And since the Democrats don't care enough, because apparently we're judging feelings now, sorry, America, you don't get the truth. We're not going to release it because Democrats don't actually care. Who the fuck, even if they didn't care, what if they were all lying about their feelings? What if 100% of Democrats were only demanding the release of these files because they think it's going to make Trump look bad? Release it anyways. They're telling on themselves. They're literally saying, like, we're a cult. We are here to protect dear leader. And so you guys don't care about this enough. So America doesn't deserve the truth because you don't like Donald. They're telling you in real time, like, this is what she's saying. This is why it's a hoax. This is why they can't release the files.
To solve crimes when they have done nothing to lock up child pedophiles and child rapists across the country. If he didn't sign.
I mean, you can go look at the numbers during the Biden administration. There were thousands of people who abused children who were locked up. I don't even know what the fuck they're talking about there. I have no clue what she's talking about there. What do you think during the Biden administration? They're like, if you commit a sexual crime against children, you will not be prosecuted. That didn't happen. So the hoax is we don't care and we didn't do anything about it. Therefore, sorry, you don't get the truth.
Is if you said he didn't sign the birthday card, he didn't do this, he also didn't do the check, those were in documents from the estate. So what is the working theory as to why he's in them?
The president has one of the most famous signatures in the world, and he has for many, many years. You know that, Maggie, you've covered him for a long time, long before he assumed this office when he was a businessman in New York. The president did not write that letter. He did not sign those documents. He maintains that position.
She doesn't know that. I understand that her job is Whitehouse press secretary, not Donald Trump personal press secretary, but that's what the press secretary does. She doesn't know that. She's just, Donald's like, I didn't do that. And she's like, you didn't do it. You all know he signed that letter. Fuck all the way off with that. There is no way he didn't sign that letter. The estate has had that book. So you're saying that like 20 years ago, 23 years ago, I think it was, they knew that Trump was going to be president. They forged a letter. They got it put in a book. By the way, these aren't individual leaflets. This is a published hardback book. So they got this letter. They faked that it was Trump's signature. They did that weird little poem, and then they put it in a hardcover book, knowing that 23 years later he would be president, and this would prevent him from releasing the Epstein files, which also doesn't make sense because we have that. So why wouldn't he release the Epstein files? None of this makes any sense, Republicans. I know what you're doing right now. I know exactly what you're doing right now. I know what's going through your head right now. Please, can we change the subject? Let's talk about something else. Joe Biden showered with his daughter. Why didn't you guys care about this before? Why don't you care about it now? Why are you allowing this obvious lie to be perpetrated? Of course he wrote the letter. Are you out of your fucking minds? Of course he did. This being a hoax that they created this whole book? Of course he wrote the letter. The signature's identical. Of course he did. Stop it. You guys can't be taken seriously anymore if you're going to keep doing this shit.
And that position will be argued in court by his lawyers. The president is very confident he is going to win this case.
Yeah, he's going to lose. But actually, he's not going to lose that case. He's going to drop that case. That's what's going to happen. Donald Trump does this thing and this is how he plays you. Anything bad that comes out about Donald Trump, he just sues the person who said it, and then you guys go, see, would he be suing them? Would he be suing them if that wasn't true? And then he drops the case like every time. Every time he drops the case, or now that he's president, he uses his leverage to get a settlement. Never wins the case, hasn't won a single one of these defamation cases. In fact, he lost a defamation case. He lost the defamation case to E. Jean Carroll. And when those claims came out, he's like, I'm going to sue E. Jean Carroll. And he lost. It is so easy and predictable to get you guys to do whatever he wants. As long as he never admits that he did anything and threatens to sue people or threatens to investigate it, then you guys are like, okay. And then the investigation never comes and you go on the rest of your life believing that he was telling the truth because he threatened to sue them. But please tell me all these people who slandered him that he threatened to sue. Tell me the lawsuits that he won. There aren't any. Cope. You're asking me to cope? Bitch, your guy's covering up the Epstein files. This isn't cope. What are you talking about? Let's go. I'm going to skip down. All right, let's get to Dan Goldman questioning Cash Patel today. Kash Patel lost his mind. Kash Patel was screaming over witnesses, and Jim Jordan, who, by the way, like, besides being Donald Trump's lapdog in Congress, the thing that he's second most famous for is covering up sexual abuse at not Penn State, Ohio State. So the person chairing this committee that's listening to Kash Patel covering up for sexual abuse himself covered up sexual abuse and then tried to get the people who were sexually abused not to tell the truth about it. That's who's running this committee today. I just want to make sure. And he's going to let Kash Patel do whatever the fuck you want. Fossil and Weekend at Bernie's impersonator Chuck Grassley was running the Senate hearing. I think he was asleep half the time. He was just like, Kash Patel at one point screamed for like 2 straight minutes. He was the witness. He was talking to Adam Schiff and nothing from Chuck Grassley. Not a gavel. I think he coughed at one point. And then after like 3 minutes, he's like, guys, stop. That was it. It's out of control.
Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. So now all of a sudden, the Republicans who were so aggressively intent on releasing the Epstein files because they were going to be a huge, explosive story about Democrats involved with Jeffrey Epstein are quiet. So the irony of these Republicans accusing the Democrats now of only being interested in this is for political purposes is so thick that it is almost sucking us into the quicksand. But let's go a step further. Because now the cover-up is getting so deep and so intense that this committee, which has oversight over the Department of Justice and would ordinarily be the one that is doing this investigation, is running away from it. Why? Because Chairman Comer is the useful idiot who will do the cover-up for Donald Trump. And what does that mean? Oh, well, now there is an oversight investigation, but you know what they're not asking for?
Those kind of comments, and he knows that. Gentleman's recognized.
What was said there?
Well, now there is an oversight investigation, but you know what they're not asking for?
Those kind of comments.
I still can't hear what the comment is. I don't know.
Gentleman's recognized.
Now, the oversight committee is doing an investigation, but you know what they're not asking for? You know what you did not put in the rule to confirm that investigation? We're not asking for the documents that were used to open the investigation, who provided the information. They're not asking for witness statements, victim witness statements. They're not asking for recordings that may exist. They're not asking for any of the evidence that might include Donald Trump. And rather than acknowledge that you're just trying to cover up for Donald Trump's knowledge and involvement in the Jeffrey Epstein scheme, you're trying to accuse us of being interested. And
the Republican side of this, by the way, which I'm not even going to show because who cares? They're literally like they're going out there and like, Kash Patel's here, and they caught the victim of Charlie Kirk's assassination in 33 hours. That's what we should be doing. We should be here praising the FBI director and not asking him tough questions. And ironically, most Republicans are not asking tough questions. Here was Dick Durbin yesterday in the Senate hearing. Dick Durbin, like, his resting heart rate is 1. It's got to be. He is the most calm person I've ever seen in my entire life. Does a great job here with Kash, and Kash just can't. Kash can't handle it.
There's a New York Times story this morning about Chris Meyer. As I understand it, he was your personal pilot, at least for some period of time. Mr. Meyer has quite a record himself. Flew over 350 hours as an Air Force pilot on 3 aircraft types in Afghanistan. Mr. Jardina, another former FBI agent, a 1999 graduate of U.S. Naval Academy, commanded 100 Marines in combat during the 2003 invasion of Iraq, participated in several firefights, followed up with 2011 deployment as reservist to Afghanistan, where he interrogated senior Taliban officials. It appears that you terminated these two agents. Why?
I'm not going to get into personnel decisions that we made.
You guys comfortable with that? Are you comfortable with an organization in our country that Congress has oversight of, telling Congress, I'm not telling you? We want to know why these people were fired, because these people, by the way, are coming, have brought a lawsuit saying that they were terminated because they participated in investigations into Donald Trump. That's what they're alleging. So if they're alleging that, if that's the whistleblower, it's Congress's job, who has oversight, to ask these questions. Are you comfortable with an organization in our country that gets to tell the people who have oversight, who represent you? Are you comfortable with them saying, "Get fucked"? I'm not answering that question. I bet you're not if it's Democrats. I bet you only are when it's Republicans. That's my guess. You shouldn't ever be comfortable with that, regardless of who it is. If they were asking questions about like the Hunter Biden laptop, and a whistleblower had come out and said, Hunter Biden's laptop, there was this chart there was evidence that showed $100,000 going to Joe Biden, and I got fired for that. I got fired for working, or I guess it would be it would be the other way, if it Democrats. So it'd have to be somebody was investigating Donald. How would we do that? How would we make that? Yeah, they were investigating Joe Biden, and then we got rid of him. Yeah, that was right the first time. And then we fired that person. Joe Biden's FBI director just fired him. And then you brought who was it? Andrew McCabe? Was it McCabe that was the FBI director? You had McCabe sitting here, and they're like, this person says that they were fired because they had evidence that Joe Biden was running a crime organization, and you fired him. And Andrew McCabe said, I'm not going to discuss that with you. You'd absolutely be furious right now. But you're in a cult and you don't care. Grow up, guys. That's a baffling thing. Like the fact that I asked if you were okay with that, and people in the chat are like, yeah, I'm okay with that. You're lying. You're not okay with that. You just are in a cult.
So you're not accountable for your decisions to take people who've served our country so admirably and terminate them without any cause?
That's a one-sided story. Anyone that has been terminated from the FBI, generally
side of the story.
Failed to meet the needs.
That's crazy. You're only getting one side of the story. Yeah, that's why you're here, you silly little bitch. But you won't tell us your side of the story, will you?
Of the FBI and uphold their constitutional duties, and you providing a one-sided story from your perch is absolutely disgraceful, because the men and women of the FBI deserve better. And your attack on the current leadership of the men and women of the FBI.
The fake outrage from this fucking idiot. Tell the story! It's not fair that you're only telling one side of the story. Could you tell the other side? No. I just want to point out that you're only telling one side. How the fuck would we have the other side of the story, Cash? If you won't tell us the other side of the story, what do you want us to do? Just ignore it and move on, because that's what we do in MAGA land. We don't ask tough questions here.
Guys, equally disgraceful, because now you're attacking the leaders that are our brave SACs in the field who are doing the job that this country needs.
It's disgraceful.
And we will continue to do it.
Excuse me, it's disgraceful when Mr. Meyer and Mr. Giardina, who served our country so well, are terminated apparently because of the rants of a podcaster.
That is your opinion. It is not a fact.
Well, it's certainly my opinion. I can back up with fact. Let me tell you.
Yeah. Why is he not telling the truth? So Cash isn't telling the truth about why he's firing people. They're not going to tell you the truth about Epstein. They're not going to tell you the truth about anything. Now, more from Dick Durbin and Cash Patel. And again, guys, isn't it? I hope this isn't the same one. Hold on.
Patel, much like you.
No, I think it's a different clip. Just making sure. Again, his resting heart rate is 1. This is the most calm human being that has ever existed.
Director Patel, much like you, Deputy Director Dan Bongino was a conspiracy theorist who built a lucrative career making inflammatory and unsubstantiated statements about the FBI that would be disqualifying in any administration that cared about nonpartisan law enforcement. For instance, Mr. Bongino called the placement of pipe bombs outside the DNC and RNC headquarters on January 6, quote, an inside job, and went on to say this was a setup. I have zero doubt, and whoever goes into the FBI, you better get an answer about why. Director Patel, you and Deputy Director Bongino are now leading the FBI. What is the evidence to suggest the pipe bombs placed outside of the DNC and RNC on January 6 were an inside job?
I appreciate the opportunity to discuss Director Bongino's Mind Record.
It's not. This is not a human interaction. This is not a human conversation. Can you address these specific concerns? Thank you for giving me the opportunity to to now rattle off some stats about our record.
So many on this committee and the media jettison our 31 years of public service.
Can you answer the question, sir?
I'm answering the.
Shut up. Shut the fuck up, Cash Patel. Shut the fuck up and answer the question. He's going to lose his job. This guy is so far over his skis, which ironically it appears that he just got back from skiing. Shut the fuck up. Answer a question. Jesus Christ. Could you give us specifics? I'm going to now rattle off some statistics because I don't answer questions. MAGA, yeah. Don't answer his question. Yeah. Get it together, folks. You guys you're an embarrassment to the world. You're making the United States look like a bunch of cucked out bitches, and I'm tired of it. All 4'3" of Cash Patel can't find it in him to answer a fucking question, and you guys are celebrating it. Oompa loompa doompity, answer the fucking question.
You're questioning the integrity of the deputy director of the FBI and mine. And I'm going to answer the question. The pipe bomb investigation is ongoing, and I'm not going to discuss the details.
How much longer are we going to do this pipe bomb investigation, by the way? How much longer do we need? The pipe bomber is most likely. Now I got to be careful what I say, because fuck the Republicans are on speech patrol. There's significant evidence that a man named Ivan Rakelin was the pipe bomber. It is, but they won't even bring it up. The reason that they're not doing the pipe bomb investigation is because they know where it came from. They know it was an attempt to try and smear the Democrats, which is weird because they put it at the DNC and then they claim they did it at the RNC and then they're like it's a radical leftist. It's not Marge, guys. Look up the name Ivan Rakelin. You can see him. He's a psycho. You can see he's one of the guys that like chases down. He was there like chasing down. Who's that? Who's the officer that's really outspoken that was attacked on January 6th? This is Ivan Rakelin. Just to let you know, whoever the pipe bomber was used a Metro card that night. They tracked the person to the Metro, used a Metro card, and then they know where they got off and they know where they went. They know where the person lives. They know the Metro card, so that means they have cameras of who purchased the Metro card. We know who the pipe bomber is. They're fucking lying to you. Fanone, thank you guys. Fanone. He chased down Fanone like calling him a coward. We absolutely know who the pipe bomber is. They just won't tell us.
Of the pipe bomb investigation. Mr. Bongino was a Secret Service agent for 15 years, a police officer for 5. I served this country in multiple administrations for 16 years.
Yeah, not the FBI, though. Zero experience in the FBI. You should run the FBI.
We were also private citizens, and we are now back in government service. And what we have the ability to do is set aside our personal beliefs to deliver the mission of justice for this country, and we're doing it day in and day out. And I find it disgusting that everyone and anyone would jettison our 31 years of combined experience that is now at the helm of the FBI, delivering historic results at historic speeds for the American people.
Hey, you gonna answer the question now? You guys have, hands down, the biggest collection of dipshits running this government. Nobody should be surprised that, like, in every way, we are just getting dunked on. Nobody should be surprised that Modi, Xi, and Putin got together and laughed. Nobody should be surprised that, like, Russian state media is going, can you believe it? Can you believe they brought this fucking idiot back? He's so bad at this. He does whatever we tell him to do. And he surrounded himself by complete incompetent buffoons. Just answer a question. Good Lord. So if you're the fucking FBI director, I've seen James Comey, I've seen Andrew McCabe. They answer questions. And the only time you'd see that they dodged questions, they would say, I'm happy to have this discussion with you in a skiff. This is classified information. I can't cover it with you now. I'd be happy to have the information in a skiff, or I'd be happy to have this interview in a skiff. And they sat down and they had interviews, and they sat down with the J6 committee, and they were like relatively transparent. Compared to this, they were almost totally transparent. Here is another question from Dick Durbin. One of the things that's kind of unusual is that the FBI released a memorandum saying that there was no incriminating Epstein client list, but nobody will sign it, which is unusual. When you put a release out like this, you put out a memorandum. Memorandums are generally signed. Nobody wanted to put their name to this particular one. Why do you think that is? Why do you think nobody would want a sign that says there's no incriminating Epstein client list? And when I watched the hearings with Kash Patel, one thing Kash is doing over and over again is saying, that's this department. I don't involve myself with the day-to-day. I don't know what they've seen. I don't know what they're doing. That's something they do. I let them have autonomy. I let them do their jobs. Over and over throughout this hearing, the one thing you'll see Kash Patel do is distance himself from what the FBI is doing and claim that that's not him. Although, he's the director. That's why he's here. He's supposed to have oversight. He's supposed to know. He doesn't seem to know very much for an FBI director, but this was an interesting line of question.
Did a whistleblower ever make a disclosure to Attorney General Bondi indicating that the New York field office was withholding Epstein-related records?
I'm not familiar with that whistleblower.
You know that there was such a whistleblower?
I'm not familiar with that whistleblower.
In response to the blowback...
Why not? You're not familiar with an FBI whistleblower that, the general public knows? We know about it? Somehow there's an FBI whistleblower that the public knows about that's been reported on the news, but the director doesn't know about it? I find that hard to believe. Or he's just not doing his job. Maybe somebody emailed it to him, he didn't read it. How the fuck does he not know that there is a very public whistleblower in the FBI? He knows where the club is. Oh, I do want to correct one thing. I had said that he was at a restaurant/nightclub. I looked that up today. I don't think it's a nightclub. It's called Rouse, R-A-O. I think that's how you say it. I don't think it was a nightclub. So I do want to correct that from yesterday. I think it was just a nice restaurant.
She received, Attorney General Bondi also pushed the FBI to review approximately 100,000 Epstein-related records on an arbitrarily short deadline in March, and the FBI was directed to flag any documents that mentioned President Trump. Nothing came of that review until July, when DOJ and FBI released an unsigned memorandum stating there is no incriminating client list. Why was this July 7th memorandum unsigned?
Would you prefer I've used AutoPen?
You know what Kash might be worse at than being FBI director? Jokes. That yeah, I would have preferred that you used AutoPen. Honestly, because then it would be signed and then your name would be attached to it. And with AutoPen, it counts as a signature. You can use AutoPen. There's nothing wrong with AutoPen. This is like a new right-wing conspiracy theory. It's fine. You could sign every document with AutoPen. It doesn't mean a goddamn thing. Yes, I would have preferred that you used AutoPen because then your name would be attached to it. And we wouldn't be left thinking it seems like nobody wants to say or attach their name to a document that says Trump's not in those files. That's what it seems like. So yeah, we would have preferred that you use AutoPen. Also, your jokes sucked. He thinks he nailed it.
The memorandum had the insignia of the Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And in our effort to secure
we put the logos on it. That doesn't count. It doesn't count if we put on the logos.
transparency for the American people, because the three prior administrations had not done so, we conducted an exhaustive search of everything related to the Epstein cases, and we produced what was legally and permissibly able to be produced to Congress and the American public.
So
and there's a congressional subpoena, and we're continuing to do so.
Did you personally direct that investigation so that you would sign such a...
Did I personally direct what investigation?
Of the Epstein records for any reference to President Trump?
Again, you are citing reporting that I think is baseless. We conducted an...
It's not citing reporting. He's asking you a question. It doesn't matter what the reporting is. Why is our FBI director so... he seems very in tune with what people are reporting and what the news is saying. It seems like a guy that's very, very interested in watching the news and not doing his job. Why does he know so much about the news media? Why do you think that is? Maybe because he's a media whore. Like, that's what he was. He's a fucking podcaster who made millions of dollars lying to you. You just lied all the fucking time and get you guys riled up, and then you send him money, and you're like, he's such a hero. Look how tough he talks. Look at him. He knows what's wrong with the FBI. He's never worked a day in his life in the FBI, but he knows what's going on over there. He definitely has sources. Everything he claimed, he claimed that the Epstein files were right there, and as soon as he got there, he was going to release them, and he was going to shut down the Hoover building on day one and make it a museum to the deep state. All these things, all this tough talk. He's the same as all you MAGAs in the chat. You're all fucking talk because nothing you're saying is true. So when you get there and the files don't match what you think, you're like, uh-oh. And the Donald's like, hey, bitch, remember when I gave you this job that you don't deserve because you're a fucking idiot and you have no qualifications? Yeah, you're going to do what I say. And he's like, okay, I'll do what you say, daddy.
Investigation of the Epstein case files pursuant to the direction of the president of the administration to provide all credible information. And we are working with Congress pursuant to a congressional subpoena to turn over all the documents we can. All individuals.
Who at DOJ and FBI?
Yeah. This is an alarming thing, too. Like, we're working with Congress to release all the files we can. Then why are you telling people not to sign the discharge petition? That would give us all the files. You don't have to work. It's not hard. They literally just have to say yes. There's no work. It's all done. There's a discharge petition. Just say yes, and we can have it. What do you mean you're working with Congress? Here's I don't remember if it's Senator Hirono. I think it's is Hirono a senator or a congresswoman?
We've got a new subscriber.
Senator. That's right. Maisie. This is Maisie Hirono. She is from Hawaii. Shit, I lost the link. Let me go back here. She just wants some names. There were some people that have been replaced. The main theme through this is that Kash Patel, outside of the Epstein stuff, Kash Patel has gone through the FBI. He's demanded loyalty pledges, and he's firing people who either aren't loyal to Donald Trump or worked on investigations investigating Donald Trump. And that's that's a fair question. So now they want to know, like, you replace these people. You claim that you didn't get rid of them because of their investigations into Trump, but who are they? What are the names of some of these people that you replaced them with? Find out. You'll see Kash Patel won't answer that question either.
Patel, the FBI is also the lead federal agency for investigating cyber attacks and cyber intrusions, both by foreign nation states and by non-state hacker groups. Since President Trump's inauguration, the executive assistant director in charge of the criminal and cyber branch and the head of the FBI's cyber division have both left the FBI. What are the names of the people who replace them in those positions?
The cyber branch is one of the most impressive at the FBI. 409 arrests this year, 169.
Every time he just reads off stats. She asked for names. So he's either just an arrogant, pompous prick, or he's functionally illiterate. What the fuck? Bro, we didn't ask for stats, dude.
Convictions. That's a 42% increase from the same time last year. So
branch,
any suggestion that the FBI cyber division is not operating at full capacity and better than ever before, the leadership at the branch is implementing these changes necessary to attack the cyber and ransomware infrastructure operators
You know
for
why
Iran, China,
they're
and Russia.
important? I want to
Real quick, didn't our what's it called? What's the system that got hacked by Russia? I forget what it's called. I always forget the name. Let me look this up. Didn't this just happen? What is the name? What is the name of that? You guys will have it. Pacer. Yeah. They're doing great work. Yeah, we got hacked like 12 seconds ago, dude. And we still, you still haven't told us who hacked us. We believe it's Russia, but you still haven't told us. I don't think they're doing a very good job.
know who has those positions, since the people who originally were there
Supremely
are no longer
qualified
there.
individuals have those positions.
Are they?
Supremely qualified
Who
individuals.
are they? What are the names?
You're not
You
getting
don't
them.
know.
You're not getting them. You have oversight. That's how the Constitution says that you have oversight. You're not getting them. You're Senator Blumenthal. We're gonna bury Kash Patel today. Everybody should see Kash Patel not answering. By the way, 0 questions answered so far. Republicans, thumbs up or thumbs down if you like your FBI director not answering questions. Watch this. Thumbs up if you like your FBI director not answering questions. Thumbs down. Only Republicans. Thumbs down if you don't like it. Watch as these come in. All right, here's Senator Blumenthal.
Recall well in January at your confirmation hearing before this committee, I raised the prospect of politically motivated retaliation, and you promised me, as you did other members of this committee, quote, every FBI employee will be held to the absolute same standard and no one will be terminated for case assignments. You went on to tell me, quote, all FBI employees will be protected against political retribution. And you assured one of my—
What's sad is that this is honestly how stupid Republican politics is and MAGA politics is. It's all about owning, right? It's all about looking like the alpha. And what Republicans watch this and they're like, good for you, Kash. You didn't give them what they wanted. Transparency. That's right. That's right. We don't tell you anything. He doesn't tell us anything. We don't know either. But that's right. That's all you guys care about. This is so tribal. This is why when Charlie Kirk got shot, and it's obvious, it's incredibly obvious that the person who shot Charlie Kirk was apolitical. All of his friends are saying he's apolitical. The evidence that he's on the left is that he's gay. And that's it. That's the entirety of the evidence that he's on it's the reason that you guys can't wrap your heads around this idea that an apolitical person exists is because your entire life is just party politics. It's a team game for you. So you don't give a fuck about if the country does well, if the country does poorly. You don't care if we have transparency. You don't care if our government's telling us the truth. You just want people to be mean to the libs. That's it. And that's fine. You can be mean, but it's not beneficial to you. It's a weird way to live your life. You would rather see the country burn than have your FBI director just answer a fucking question. Yeah, fuck that, dude. I'm all about big government. I love that. I love censorship. I love police states. Hopefully they're reading my messages right now. I hate it when the government isn't involved in every aspect of my life. And you know what I hate more than anything? When the government tells the truth. That really pisses me off. Answers are woke. Transparency is woke.
colleagues that you would honor the internal review process of the FBI. I'm not going to mince words. You lied to us. In the short time that you've been FBI director, you've presided over a rash of retaliatory firings. 3 FBI agents have recently sued you. They are FBI agents with 60 years between them of distinguished service, rescuing hostages, saving kids from predators, dismantling drug cartels, and their allegations, their civil allegations, are a searing indictment of your tenure as FBI director. But
we love it. Rory said, I'm just here so I don't get fined. Thank you, Rory Iverson. Tanya said, what day creates the most alternative energy? Wednesday. I like that one. Happy hump day. Tony said it was Marjorie Taylor Greene to the pipe bomber. I don't remember if I read that. Lisa said, for having the testicular fortitude to tell the truth. Thank you. Just a reminder, guys, we are crowd funded, and you know the way to do that. On TikTok, it's through gifting. Anywhere else, there's different ways that you can help us accomplish our funding goals every single day. Republicans in the chat, one of the things that benefits me the most is if right now you start calling me a grifter and a beggar, and if you tell people not to donate to our cause. So Republicans, do your thing. Make sure that you call me a grifter and say that I'm doing this for money. It works out for me every single time. And go. Let's get to the next clip here. This is Sheldon Whitehouse. Now, remember that Kash Patel has an actual enemies list. He came in. He doesn't call it an enemies list. But he has a list of people that before he was an FBI director, he said he would go after if he was the FBI director. Then once he got confirmed as the FBI director, he promised everybody in this room, I won't target these people. I don't have an enemies list. I'm not going to fire people who investigated Donald Trump. And the reason they were asking those questions is before he was nominated as FBI director, he was saying, if I'm the FBI director, I'm going to go after these people and I will purge the FBI of anybody who investigated Donald Trump. So that when he sat before him, they're like, hey, dude, remember this thing that you definitely said and then you wrote everybody's names down? Remember that? And he's like, yeah. And they're like, are you going to do that? And he's like, no, I would never do that. I respect the FBI. We are going to be the most transparent administration in history. And they were like, I don't really believe you. And Republicans were like, yeah, but Donald said we had to vote for you. So he was confirmed by the smallest margin ever for an FBI director, by the way. Smallest margin ever. There have been many Trump appointees that passed unanimously or nearly unanimously. I don't know if any passed unanimously. I think there were some where people didn't vote. But nearly unanimously. Kash Patel wasn't one of them because he's a dipshit and he's unqualified and he's a liar and he's also vindictive and he's using the role of FBI director to go after all the people that he lied about when he wasn't proven to be correct. And so we're going to talk about that, and he's going to lie again.
Director Patel, welcome.
Thank you, sir.
When you were here for your confirmation, we talked about your so-called enemies list. It appears to me that there have been adverse actions of various kinds taken against about 20 of the 60 people on your enemies list. You've been in office for...
Just a coincidence, guys. Just a coincidence that they went after 20 of those people. Just coincidence, sheer coincidence.
7 months. At that rate, you've got 14 months until you've hit all 60. Can you explain that?
Again, that is an entirely inaccurate presupposition. I do not have an enemies list. You can continue to characterize it as you wish. The only actions we take, generally speaking, for personnel at the FBI are ones based on merit and qualification and your ability to uphold your constitutional duty. You fall short, you don't work there anymore.
Well, there was a list.
He talks on. When Kash Patel thinks he landed like a tough guy point, he always looks away like, nailed it. Dude, everybody knows why you're firing people. You could say it. By the way, if Kash Patel went on a podcast right now, if he went on Turning Point USA, whoever's hosting that now, and he was like, just so you know, all 20 of those people are on my enemies list, and I targeted them on purpose, all of you would be like, good. He's just lying now because it's against the law, but none of you care. He definitely did this. It's definitely happening. It's just against the law, so we can't say it in this setting, but none of you care. Because for some reason, again, you've adopted the victimhood of Donald Trump. You somehow are living your life, and when bad things happen to Donald Trump or when people criticize Donald Trump, you take it ridiculously personal, and it ruins your day, so much so that you have to come on the internet and cry about how you are also a victim with Donald Trump.
You don't like it to be called an enemies list, and it had about 60 names, and about 20 have had an adverse action. So those are, I think, pretty clear facts. Let me move. Director.
I was reading this. I was trying to find his exact quote on the enemies list. I'll get that here in a second. Okay, now we're gonna get spicy. So after Senator Schiff questioned Kash Patel on why Ghislaine Maxwell was moved into a minimum security prison after being questioned by Blanch, listen to Kash Patel's response. Now, look, this is crazy. You all know. Explain how this happens. The president's personal attorney, who's pretending to be an attorney for the government, goes and meets with a person who could expose Donald Trump and the Epstein list. She says, like, no, Donald and nobody else ever did anything wrong. And then they move her to a minimum security prison. And just listen to the excuse that Kash Patel comes up with of how this happened. Not one of you believes this. I don't give a fuck what you say. None of you believe this. Every person watching this, I promise you know this is a lie. If you don't think this is a lie, please give me a better explanation.
You clearly won't tell us the cabinet members associated with Mr. Epstein. Let me ask you one last question. And that is, right after she gives this testimony in front of an FBI agent, among others, she's transferred to a minimum security prison, not suitable
Thanks,
for
Edward.
a sex offender like herself. Who made that decision and why?
The Bureau of Prisons.
The Bureau of Decisions made it in
Prisons.
The Bureau of Prisons decided on their own, without any consultation with Blanch or anyone else, that they were going to suddenly, after this interview, completely unrelated to this interview, completely unrelated to anything she said, move her to a prison not suitable for a sex offender. You want the American people to believe that? Do you think they're stupid?
Yeah, well, he does. He does think that. They're not. Why didn't she get moved before? What did she do to deserve being moved to a minimum security prison, MAGA? No. You all know this is a lie. Any person, you cannot be taken seriously if you don't think that the Attorney General and the FBI put pressure on the bureaus of prison. They're just like, you know what I was thinking today? I was thinking maybe Ghislaine needs to go to a different prison, a minimum security prison. We ought to do that. And then they did it. And then the press came out. They're like, holy shit, we didn't even know that she was interviewed. Epstein files. That's a big story in this country right now. The Epstein files. This is totally unrelated. We just thought to ourselves, well, she should move to a minimum security prison. This actual sex abuser who trafficked children. The Bureau, why didn't they fire whoever it is that's leading the Bureau of Prisons? Who's in charge of the Bureau of Prisons? Who is that? Let's see. I didn't even know that was a bureau, to be honest. So many fucking bureaus. William K. Marshall III. All right, guys, we got to talk to William K. Marshall. I got a problem. What's his? I want to bet he's like a private prison person. Began law enforcement career with the West Virginia State Police in Huntington, where he's honored as a police officer of the year. Transferred to Interstate Drug Interdiction Team. His exemplary service led to his selection for IRS criminal investigation. Promoted to sergeants for the Department of Military Affairs and Public Safety. He's also designated the director of the Division of Juvenile Service under the new formed Division of Corrections and Rehabilitation, Assistant Commissioner for the Bureau of Juvenile Services. Oh, he's police all the way through. That's good to see. All right. So, by the way, this is who you're mad at. Just so you know, Republicans, this is the guy that you need to bury. He's the one that gave Ghislaine Maxwell this new location. Just totally out of the blue, not related to anything that she said to Donald Trump's personal lawyer. Got it.
For a sex offender. You want the American people to believe that? Do you think they're stupid?
No, I think the American people believe the truth, that I'm not in the weeds on the everyday movements of
you're
inmates.
not in the weeds?
What I
They believe the truth. It wasn't me. I'm not in the weeds on this. I don't know what's going on. Nobody tells me anything. And they know that. The American people know that nobody tells me shit. I don't know about any of the stuff that's going on right now. I have no idea. And the American people know that. And what's he about to do now? Is he about to answer the question, or is he about to go after Schiff? He's going to go after Schiff, who, ironically, on his enemies list.
am doing is protecting this country, providing historic reform, and combating the weaponization of intelligence by the likes of you. And we have countlessly proven you to be a liar in Russiagate, in January 6th.
He was right about Russiagate. He was right about January 6th. Yeah, the American people that can read know that Kash Patel is lying. The American people who refuse to read, MAGA, they think Kash Patel right now is telling the truth. Kash Patel will do anything not to answer a question, including now go back to Russia, Russia, Russia. I don't want to talk about what's going on under my direction. I want to talk about Russia, Russia, Russia.
You are the biggest fraud to ever sit in the United States Senate. You are a disgrace to this institution and an utter coward.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised that you continue to lie from your perch and put on a show.
Yeah, by the way, what the fuck, Jim Jordan? Can we get it together?
So you can go raise money for your charade. You are a political buffoon at best.
Well, you can take an intro.
Why does he keep looking at Jim Jordan when he's done?
Was that good? Did I do a good, Jimmy? You gonna throw me some cheese, Jimmy?
Take it to the bank that the FBI is protecting this country and the state and citizens of the California. We are bringing historic reform.
Point of order.
But all you care about is a child sex predator that was prosecuted by a prior administration, and the Obama Justice Department and the Biden Justice Department did squat. And what did President Trump do? Bring new charges courageously. And what have we done?
Chairman,
you said
take
I'm the
control
most
of this
transparent
situation.
FBI director in history.
Wait, he brought new charges courageously? What are these new charges that were courageously brought by Donald Trump? I don't even know what the fuck he's talking about. This crash out is unbelievable. That's the FBI director. He's really good under pressure, guys. He's really good under pressure. Lick my balls, fishhead. Honestly, lick my balls. I don't care. This is a child. I thought it was a grown man. I know he's the size of a child, but it's crazy. Like he has the size and the personality of a child. This is a screaming toddler. This is the guy that's in charge of the Federal Bureau of Investigations. He needs to be level-headed. He needs to be nonpartisan. He needs to be dedicated to the work. He needs to be in the weeds. And all he's saying here is like, I'm not involved in the weeds. I don't know what anybody's doing, but let me tell you about another news story I read while I scream at you. He's a pathetic, whiny little bitch. He's a disgrace to the FBI, which is already disgraced. It's like it already is a shitty institution. Imagine being a disgrace to the FBI. Do you know how fucking pathetic you have to be a disgrace to the FBI? It's not even about corruption. The FBI is always corrupt. They've always been, they always do corrupt things under every administration. But what we didn't have before is a whining toddler bitch. Like now we've got a little bitch here that's, cry some more. I'm mad at you, Schiff. Don't ask me questions. That's what we've got now in America. We got a fucking podcast host with no credentials crying on the floor of Congress, screaming at members of Congress, and we're supposed to be like, yeah, if a crime comes through, this guy, he's definitely got it. He's going to get to the bottom of it. He's a child. He's a pathetic child. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm not even trying to defend the FBI or anybody. I'm not trying to defend Andrew McCabe, but at least he was an adult. At least he would answer questions. When they sat, go watch Andrew McCabe's testimony. Go watch, what was the guy that Trump fired the first time? Big, tall guy. What was his name? Help me out. What was his, Jim Comey? James Comey. Yeah. He sat there. He wasn't screaming. This guy's hysterical. There is no organization that this person is fit to lead. He crumbles in crisis. He lashes out in crisis. This man is unfit to lead anything. I wouldn't, if I ran a food truck with one employee, he would be the employee. There's no way I would put this guy in charge of anything ever. He takes no accountability. He has no regard for truth. He doesn't tell the truth. And he loses his mind every time somebody asks him a tough question. Every time he was asked a tough question, he lost his mind like this.
33,000 pages of information to you. I challenge you to say anything credibly to the truth. Go ahead and run to the cameras where you want to go now.
Oh, and then he looks right. Look at this. Look at this. Did I do good? Did I do good, guys? I yelled at him. Did I do a good? I hope you guys pat me on the head later. Every fucking time he finishes. Did I do a good? Can you guys tell Donald that I did a good? Tell him I did a good. Thanks, guys.
Before I go.
Fucking child, man. Listen, if you think this is rage, you haven't seen me mad. I get mad. I can get mad. This isn't me mad. Like, this is pathetic. This is embarrassing. That we have no choice but to laugh at this. What else are we going to do? Now we got Jamie Raskin, who he really fucking hates. When Kash Patel was a podcaster, he had video after video after video where he repeatedly claimed that Epstein's black book was under the control of the FBI director. I actually believe that's true. And I'm going to give Kash Patel some credit here because Kash Patel actually tells the truth here. And weirdly, like the American people think that Kash Patel's lying, but he's actually telling the truth here. So here's an opportunity for me to back Kash Patel.
Director Patel, before you joined the FBI, you railed against it for covering up
Jeffrey Epstein's human trafficking ring. Let me refresh your memory with this clip.
It has Epstein's list. They're sitting on it. That doesn't seem like something you should do. You're protecting the world's foremost predator. That seems like an evil thing to do, regardless of who may be embarrassed in the release of that list. Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list.
So you finished that December 2023 interview with a challenge to the FBI and harsh words for Republicans in Congress for not getting the Epstein files out to the public. You can see this clip.
Boy pants, and let us know who the pedophiles are.
Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are, you said. You emphasized that the president and FBI director...
That's an ironic statement coming from somebody who shops at like Brooks Brothers Kids. It's Lil Brooks Brothers over here. Put on your big boy pants. If he puts on big boy pants, they're going to fall right down.
Each had complete authority to release Epstein's client list. You said Epstein's black book is under the, quote, direct control of the director of the FBI. Look at this clip.
This is way off the topic, but who has Jeffrey Epstein's
Black book?
Black book.
FBI.
But who? That is, I mean, there's...
that's under direct control of the director of the FBI.
All right, so you were sworn in as director.
Anybody tell me who the director of the FBI is now? Is that Kash Patel? Okay, got it.
More than 200 days ago. Now the black book is under your direct control. So why haven't you released the names of Epstein's co-conspirators in the rape and sex trafficking of young women and girls?
All right. Here's a weird truth. I don't know why that one cut off. I must have put the wrong one in. Kash actually answers that he did put it out. And that's true. We actually have Epstein's black book. Trump's in it. Trump actually has more context than virtually anybody. So when Kash says we did release that, it's true. It's out there. You can go look it up. I can show you pictures. Let's see. Epstein black book. I think we should be able to get pictures of it. But the part of it that is confusing for a lot of people is that what Kash Patel said is the reason it wasn't released is because who is in that book. These are screenshots, and obviously a lot of this stuff is what am I on Telegraph? You're gonna try and make me pay Telegraph? But we have it. But he said the reason it wasn't released is because the people that are on there. Well, the people that were on there, again, Donald Trump. Now what are you doing? If all these people that were on this list were being covered for by the FBI, why aren't you doing anything then? Have you gone after a single one of these people? Or did you guys all change your story? Because now what they're saying is that Epstein, there was no client list, and that Epstein and Maxwell didn't traffic children anywhere, that they didn't traffic people at all, that it was just a two-person operation. So was Kash Patel lying then, or is he lying now? Because these are two different stories. What do you guys think? Maybe he's playing, like, I think both are an option. I think that it's possible that he's running cover for the names that are on that list, or it's possible that he was being too arrogant about what was in the black book. It's one of those two things. I don't think there's evidence to say it's one way or the other. I don't know if Jeffrey Epstein would keep a black book and a client list. I think a lot of people thought the black book was going to be the client list. But what have they done with the client list or with the black book? Nothing. They're not investigating anybody. One of the sticking points between the Republicans, and one of the things that Republicans are lying about consistently, and you'll hear this, is that they're actually trying to get all the records released, and they're going and they need help, and they're going to the courts, and the courts are shutting them down, so they can't release the files. Let's be clear on what the courts are saying they cannot release. The courts, both judges that have ruled against this administration in releasing grand jury testimony, have said, one, there are legal hoops that you have to jump through and legal requirements that must be met in order for us to release grand jury testimony. In both instances, the judges said, you know this, attorneys for the Department of Justice, you know this, and you never gave us a reason why we should release these. You have to give us a reason that fits within the parameters that are acceptable. Otherwise, our hands are tied. As judges, all we can do is interpret the law. We can't say, oh, it's in the. They can't say it's in the public's interest and release grand jury testimony. There are certain requirements that it needs to meet, and then they said you need to go back and you need to come back to us with an argument that we can rule on. We can't even rule because you've given us no argument. They never came back. They never came back because they know, one, they probably can't get him released, but two, that's the testimony, the grand jury testimony. In the Southern District of New York, we have transcripts of the grand jury testimony, and that can be released. This discharge order would release the transcripts of the grand jury testimony and all of the other evidence. The grand jury testimony is not going to be the smoking gun evidence. Just remember what the grand jury testimony is. It's Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell testifying to a grand jury. Both of them were charged with lying to those grand juries. So the testimony that we want released includes them lying. It's been adjudicated. We know that they lied. They were both charged with that. That's why we say this is smoke and mirrors. The complete picture that we need can only be done through this discharge petition. Or if the FBI or the Department of Justice just decides to release it, which they can do. So they're hiding it. And Kash Patel's going to lie. Why are they covering it up? That's the question. It's clearly a cover-up. You all know it. It's an 80-20 issue. We've seen polling on this. I showed it at the beginning. Less than, I think 40% of Republicans believe it's not a cover-up. 60% do believe it's a cover-up. And then the rest of the country, it's like 10%. It's like a 90-10 issue. It's only Republicans, which, honestly, some of you are in a cult. No matter what, you're just going to side with Donald Trump. That's the 44%. It's obviously a cover-up. Let's see. I'm trying to remember. This was Dan Goldman, I believe. Dan Goldman's going to explain this. Dan Goldman, a lawyer. Kash Patel, a lawyer. Dan Goldman, obviously a better lawyer.
Okay, let's talk about the witness interviews. 302s of witness interviews. Those are not subject to the court order. Those are not subject to any fictional sealed order for a search warrant. Why aren't you releasing those with the redacted names of the victims?
We are releasing as much as legally allowed. That's why we went back to the
how is
courts.
How is that not legally allowed?
Sir, do you know how court orders work? Do you know how protective orders
Actually,
work? Do you know how
Mr. Patel, I was a real prosecutor for 10 years. I know exactly how.
So I was a fake one?
And I want to understand what the court order prevents you from releasing witness statements that the FBI took.
You should know that as a real prosecutor, when the court hand downs a protective order and a motion to seal, the material is sealed unless that
your
judge
testimony
waives
here
it.
is that all of those witness statements are under a court order, a protective order.
We are providing everything we can.
That's not. See how he's not going to answer? Your testimony today is that all of that is under a court order. That's the question. Is he going to answer it?
Legally provide.
No, that's not my question. My question is, why are those witness statements that are not grand jury testimony, that if they were under a protective order are no longer under a protective order, why are they not being released?
How are they not under a protective
Why
order?
are you not going to the court like you did for the grand jury testimony to unseal those records?
The DOJ did go to the court.
No, not on those records. Why aren't you going? You just went on grand jury.
Time of the gentleman has expired.
That's all Kash is trying to do, just extend it. So now he's lying again. He's saying, so there's this other testimony that they could unseal, and again, there's transcripts of this in the files, so they could just sign the discharge petition, or the Department of Justice could just release the files in which we would get the transcripts from this testimony. But now Kash is lying again. He's like, we did go to the courts, not for this. You didn't go to the courts to get this testimony unsealed. You went to the courts about the grand jury testimony. This is witness testimony, and they have not gone to the courts. The Department of Justice has not gone to the courts and demanded that this be released. Kash Patel is nothing but a chronic liar. He won't tell you guys the truth. Celebrate it all you want. Let me do some comments here. Matt said we need to fire Timu Aziz as FBI director. Little microaggressive there, but Superman fan said this will be in the history books. Yeah, like in the blooper reels. Our history books are going to need like a special section to talk about the Trump years. It's why did half of America forget to use their brains for 10 years? Cash's crash out voice sounds like Jay's Trump supporter voice. Fuck. God damn it. I gotta get better voices. Kevin said, you guys ever smell mothballs? It's hard to get there. Do you guys ever smell mothballs? It's hard to get their little legs apart. Jesus Christ. That might be my favorite one. Well done. Just a reminder, guys, we're gonna go for about another hour. I think we are crowdfunded. I think we're a little ways away from our funding goal every day. You know how to do it. I'm trying not to say it so we can stay up on TikTok, but you guys know how to do that. If we all join the dollar train, we can knock that out. I don't think it's moved much in a little while. So let's see what we can do about that. Let's keep going with these. And by the way, Republicans, now's a good time to call me a grifter. This is the best time. Here's Kash Patel now speaking to another person that's on his hit list. And again, you will see, just not going to give an answer.
Remembering your oath to tell the truth, did you ever tell Donald Trump his name is in the files?
I have never spoken to President Trump about the Epstein files.
Did you ever tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files?
The Attorney General and I have had numerous discussions about the entirety of the Epstein files and the reviews conducted by our team.
Did you tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files?
And we have released where President Trump's name is in the Attorney's file.
It's a simple question. Did you tell the Attorney General that the President's name is in the Epstein files?
During many conversations that the Attorney General and I have had on the matter of Epstein, we have reviewed.
The question is simple. Did you tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files? Yes or no?
Why don't you try spelling it out?
Yes
if you're
or
gonna
no?
He sucks. He's a terrible trash talker. Why don't you try spelling it out? If you're going to mock me, answer the fucking question, dipshit. That's why he has to ask it like that, because you're not answering his question. Why don't you spell it? Good, Cash.
Use the alphabet.
Yes or
Use
no?
the alphabet.
No, A, B, C,
Director,
D, E, F.
it sounds like you don't want to tell us. Did you tell
Look at him! Look at him! Every fucking time.
It sounds like you don't want to tell us.
Hey, Jimmy, did I do it good? Did you see that? I did A, B, C, D, E, F. Can you tell Donald? Can you tell Donald I did a good joke again? Hi, Jimmy. Look at me down here. I'm having a good time, not answering questions. Thanks, Jimmy.
Did you tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name was in the Epstein files?
Why don't you try serving your
Director,
constituency
did
by
you tell the
focusing on
Attorney
reducing
General
violent
that Donald-
crime?
The fuck? Just answer it, please. For the love of God, answer the fucking question, please. Maybe we need to say please to him. I don't know what we got to do to get this guy to answer a question.
In this country, and the number of pedophiles that are legally harbored in your sanctuary cities in California. I'll work with you on that.
Regular
Do you
order,
wanna
Mr.
work with
Chairman.
us on that?
Jimmy, did you see it? Jimmy, did you see? I said sanctuary cities. See how I flipped that? Look, I'm sitting up straight, so big and tall. Jimmy, I did the sanctuary city. Remember we planned that? You said if Swallwell brings something up, don't answer his question and talk about sanctuary cities. Got him. This is a literal toddler here. Last night I went to my daughter's school. They had like this. They like built these campsites, and they like sang songs. And every time I catch her eye, she'd stand a little taller. Like I did. I got all the words, Dad. That's exactly what he's doing to Jim Jordan every time. Are you proud of me, Jim?
I belong to the gentleman from California.
Did you tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files?
The question has been asked and answered.
You've not answered it.
It has not been answered. Asked and answered. But what is this? What the fuck are we even watching here? It has not been answered. He asked you if you guys talked about Trump being in the Epstein files, and you said, I'd like to work with you with your sanctuary cities. It was asked. It was not answered.
Will take your evasiveness as a consciousness of guilt. Director.
He's so stupid. I mean, I don't know. We have to laugh. Here he is. Now here comes another meltdown from Kash Patel with Swallwell. You're going to get a lot of looks to Jimmy Jordan here.
Director, Did Donald Trump ever say to you, just find and release the entire truth? Don't.
Thanks, Bamarola. And Destiny said for the mothball joke.
Worry if I'm in it.
The instructions from the administration were to release all credible information, and we have done that.
Did Donald Trump ever provide information about Jeffrey Epstein as an informant?
Donald Trump has not been, and I can only speak for the FBI, an informant of the FBI.
Do you see how he did it? Do you see how easy this is? You're allowed to answer questions. Now we got a problem, because if his goal was to never answer a single question, I guess we could say like he did it. But as soon as he had an opportunity to clear Donnie's name, clear something up there, as soon as he had an opportunity to clear up a truth, yeah, Donnie was not an FBI informant. I'm here in full transparency. Ask me more questions that can get me to praise Donald Trump. I'll answer those ones.
So, Director, you've played this cute shell game where you say you can't release everything because the court has said that it legally is not allowed to be released, but the court calls bullshit. Judge Richard Berman said that when you went to the court, quote, information contained in the Epstein grand jury transcripts pales in comparison to Epstein investigation information and materials in the hands of the Department of Justice. So let's move on, Director. You wrote a book called Government Gangsters. You identified 20 individuals in that book. You put me on that list at the top of the list. Thank you. My children find it flattering. 20 of those individuals.
He wrote a children's book where he's the hero. Kash Patel wrote a children's book where he's the hero because he defended literally King Donald. It's a 3-parter. It's not even a 1-part. We read it live. This dude wrote a fucking children's book where he is the hero protecting King Donald, and you guys are like, no, he's totally there doing the right. You all fucking know. You all know this is what he's doing. You all know this is fascism. You all know Trump's a dictator. You all know that everybody around him is just there to lick his balls and run cover for him. You all fucking know, but you're too arrogant to admit, 1, that you were wrong, and 2, that you're a cuck. Those are the 2 things. And so you're just like, we got to figure out a way to pretend that this isn't happening. Everybody knows. This motherfucker wrote a children's book about being the guy that ran cover for King Donald. A 3-fucking-parter. 1 book wasn't enough. We had to have 3 of them. And Donald's like, you know who I think would be a really good FBI director? That guy that wrote the children's books. The podcast host. Yeah, that one. Yeah, that's the guy. It's really nice when we travel, we can put him in the overhead bins. It's a good selection, honestly.
Individuals have been investigated or have had adverse actions. Director, considering that you have identified these people as, quote, government gangsters, will you recuse yourself from making any investigation decisions about these individuals?
Anyone that has been terminated at the FBI has been done so.
No, the question is...
What? Never. The people on your enemies list, will you agree that you will not run the investigation of somebody that you put on an enemies list? By the way, that's just good policy. If he runs an investigation and the people are on an enemies list, they're going to sue our government and they're going to win. You can't have somebody on your enemies list and then you prosecute them. You can't do that. You can't be involved. You have to recuse yourself. That's how our legal system works. He cannot be involved or else it will be overturned unless the plan is to never give control back. Maybe that's the plan. Maybe the plan is we don't give a fuck about the courts. We're not going to follow those court orders anyways. So what do we care? Anybody know how Putin got to where he's at? People still claim Russia's a democracy. Is Russia a democracy? No. Do they have a legitimate legal system? No. You guys are advocating for Russia right now, where you have an FBI director who came in with a list of enemies that he's going to go after, and he's going to personally prosecute it. And the only way for him to get away with this is motherfucking fascism. Authoritarian takeover. That's the only way he could get away with this. The laws are very clear. The government will lose. If Donald Trump doesn't figure out a way to stay in office, or figure out a way that a Democrat can never get in office, then all of these people are going to be prosecuted. And it's going to cost the American taxpayer hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars in the wake of this. And you guys are just, oh, yeah, get them cash. Do that on constitutional stuff. Yeah. Every time. This is so blatantly unconstitutional, it's laughable. And you guys are cheerleading it because you're fucking dumb. If you're on board with this, you're two things. One, you're a fascist, and two, you're dumb. And it is my belief that fascists, people who go along with fascism, are dumb. Some fascists are really smart. But if you're a person that's like, you know what I hate? Control over my own life. I fucking hate that. I hate when the government's not involved in my life. I hate when they don't dictate what I say, what I believe, where I go. I hate that. So I need the government to just rest their balls on my head at all times. At all times. So I guess there's a third option, cuck. But like, smart people sometimes can be the fascist. The followers of fascisms are dipshit cucks. So if you're in here today celebrating cash, I got a corner in I got a chair in the corner of the room for you. You're gonna fucking love it. I promise. It might be new to you. You're gonna love it. This is right up your alley. Watching people do things. You're gonna like it.
Failed to meet the muster in
Director,
the constitutional
I will
obligation.
work on the
No.
audio-visual capabilities.
I'm
of
going to
the room so
borrow
that
your
you can hear me.
terminology and call
I'm
bullshit
reclaiming my
on your
time.
entire career in
I'm
Congress.
reclaiming my
It
time,
has been a
Director.
disgrace to the American
Director, I'm
people.
reclaiming my
You
time.
can reclaim your
Will you
time all you
recuse
want.
yourself?
Chairman, you're going to allow a witness
to speak this way?
Mr. Chairman, would you give
recuse yourself, Director?
The gentleman has no time.
Mr. Chairman, would you admonish the
point of-
witness not to insult members?
The gentleman has no time.
Mr. Chairman, just
This guy's also 4 feet tall and covered up sexual abuse, also a bitch, also a cuck. Yeah, they could. The irony is, like, you get enough Jim Jordans and Cash Patel, and your chair budget's going to go down. Your corner chair budget's going to go down. You could fit 4 of them on one chair. They could all just sit there, their legs dangling off the chair, nowhere near touching the floor. Each of them could have a little bottle and like a plush stuffed animal. They could hold it while they sit in the chair. It'd be adorable. It'd be adorable to see these folks sitting in the cuck chair. Like, bro, what are you doing, bro? You gonna take control of this at any point? Cash Patel was asked a not very difficult question. Will you recuse yourself from investigating people on your enemies list? And he launched into an attack. I'm gonna call bullshit on your entire career. You're a fraud. You're a phony. You're a child, dog. You're a child. An absolute toddler.
You will remember.
Quick point of order. Could the gentleman be extended an additional 20 seconds to complete his thoughts, since the witness decided to interrupt him continuously?
And the witness will be able to respond if he wants. We'll make sure he has time to do that.
My question
We'll
is,
continue.
will you, Director, recuse yourself, yes or no, from investigating or making decisions about the 60 individuals?
Can I just read this? This is from Acidic Hunt. It's funny your comment rules are not to make slurs, and the only 40 seconds I've heard is you slurring, wait for it, hate speech against half Americans. I'm sorry. Are you calling Jim Jordan and Cash Patel half Americans? It sounds like we're saying the same thing. Mine are just funnier. Actually, yours might be funnier. Half Americans might be funnier. Maybe we start calling Jim Jordan and Cash Patel half Americans, and make sure, guys, that you give credit to Acidic Hunt. Oh shit! Oh shit! I just realized what your name was. Fuck. Yeah, I did. I guess I did say a slur. I guess I did. I did just slur somebody. Yeah. So half American Cash Patel is going to get 20 seconds at the end of this.
Individuals, including myself, that you identified as government gangsters? Yes or no?
Time of the gentleman has expired. The witness may respond if he would like.
And the answer was
he answered no. Did you hear that?
Myself, that you identified as government gangsters? Yes or no?
Time of the gentleman has expired. The witness may...
No, I will continue to break the law, and I will continue to go after personally the people on my hit list. Cool.
Respond if he would like.
And the answer was no, as I heard.
Correct. Okay. The gentleman from Wisconsin. The gentleman yields back. The gentleman from Wisconsin.
Stop telling me to come to Jesus. I tried. I couldn't finish. I tried very hard, and it didn't do it for me. Stop asking me to come to Jesus over here, please. Jessica said playing poker with Patel would be so easy with that tell. You wouldn't see him. It'd be hard to play poker. Literally everything he did would be under the table. Jackie said I needed this laugh. Thank you. Kim said my contribution to the grift. Thank you very much. Let me check over here. Soy Boy Auto Pen Fund. Thank you. Appreciate that. I do need an auto pen. We all need an auto pen in our life. And Brianna said, please tell my husband, Paris, it's dab o'clock, bitch. It's always dab o'clock, bitch. Always. All right. Let's go. Let's get to some Charlie Kirk stuff. I think, did I miss any here? Where do I want to start here? I want to show this video. I saw a bunch of videos like this morning, and I actually wasn't going to show any. I was just going to explain it, but I think that TikTok user She's Right Show explained this better than anybody. There is confusion about the shooter with Charlie Kirk and whether or not that person is on the right or the left. New reporting. You guys can read this from Ken Klippenstein, who has been able to talk to people in his life, including members of the Discord chat that he was in, the one where he went and confirmed that he was the shooter. They have all said that this person is apolitical, that he's not really political at all, but that he disliked Charlie Kirk. It seems from everything we've seen says he didn't like Charlie Kirk because and his parents said he was on the left because he was pro-gay, and he was what is the, I always keep forgetting, it's trans, what is the word she used? Pro-gay and trans, I want to say trans adjacent, but I know that's not right. Does anybody have the word? It's not transmacking. What the fuck? Why is everybody saying maxing? No, that's not what? No, that's not what she said. What is that? Is that a thing? Is transmaxing a thing? All right, let me find it. What the fuck are you talking about? That's not a thing, is it? Did I learn a new thing? All right, somebody's gonna have to explain what that is. No, that's trans.
Yes, it's a thing.
What is it?
I looked it up earlier. It's you Google it. It's
somebody mowing the lawn right now.
Transmaxing is an internet subculture particularly associated with incel community that involves men discussing and in some cases pursuing transition to increase their perceived chances of a better dating life. Better dating life.
All right, that's actually going to go along with this video. I was just trying to pick the words that her mom said, or his mom said.
Yeah. There's also another term that not maxing.
Trans-oriented. That's what it was. That's why it's weird, because it did make sense. Trans-right-oriented is what she said. That's the evidence that this guy's on the left. And this video is going to explain that even that part doesn't put you on the left. But I do want to say that the fact that people say that this kid was pro-gay and trans-oriented and that puts him on the left, by definition, that means that if you are pro-gay and trans-oriented, or you respect trans people's right to exist, then you cannot be on the right. I just want to paint the picture that if that's the only evidence you have of them being on the left, then you're saying that puts you on the left and you can't be on the right. So own that. I know a lot of you are going to own that, but I think we should make Republicans own that every step of the way. Every time you hear a Republican, if you're on a panel, you're talking, they say they're on the left, ask for the evidence. And the evidence is going to be from his mom that he was pro-gay and trans-oriented. And then ask them the follow-up question. Does that mean that if you are pro-gay and trans-oriented that you can't be on the right? The answer has to be yes, that's what it means. Otherwise, you can't say this person's on the left. But I think this is actually going to be talking about transmaxing. Sorry, I didn't know Groyper culture, but here you go.
To anyone who wants to write off Groypers or the alt-right or black pillars as you're just incels, you just hate women, I appreciate the energy, but I don't think you understand the full picture here. You know, incels are not the end, right? There are steps after that. Yes, at some point they may have hated women, and I'm sure they still do, but it's not about that anymore to them. They are not just jealous that they don't have a relationship. Not really. Not anymore. And this whole black pill, fashy, third way politics is rooted in lots of depression and hatred and apathy, coding everything, fairly indiscriminately. And a core thought loop is this. They feel like failures. They feel alone. A lot of them, like the Charlie Kirk suspect, are probably college dropouts, or struggling in high school, or struggling to make friends, or struggling to feel anything or to care because of depression. So their minds try to rationalize this. They seek communities that try to rationalize this, and they're trying to give each other support from the same mindset. And the conclusion they all reach is, it's okay, you're not missing out on anything anyway. They don't want to feel like failures, so they delegitimize external factors. It's no big deal, it's no big loss, it's all fake anyway, it doesn't matter. This helps them cope, because they don't have the social emotional skills to succeed, or to deal with how sad it feels to fail. So over time, they shift failing to get a girlfriend from a personal failing, or a personal ugliness, to...
You said this is an Unfuck America speaker? I've never seen them before.
Women aren't worth it. Women are bad. They'll push narratives that all women are dishonest or cheaters or in it for money. They resent women. They're disgusted by women. They don't like women. At least their idea of women, which is the only capacity they're exposed to women. And a lot of them are closeted and gay. A lot of them are closeted and asexual, even if they don't realize it. I think a lot of them are probably also closeted and trans, but try to cope with a sense of masculinity by deciding that women aren't something worth being, and their own unhappiness is relatively better. So you get this confusing situation where they're talking about these conservative ideals, like the virtues of heterosexuality, but they don't have girlfriends. Some of them have boyfriends. Sometimes they'll even date trans people, but in a really derogatory way. They'll like trans women because to them they get the aesthetic appeal of women without this sort of...
Hey, King Kevin, you're spamming the same thing. I'm not talking about... This video is not about Charlie Kirk, and calm down. We're going to talk about this because like, why would I'm not talking about Charlie Kirk. I'm talking about politics, and I'm talking about like a real discussion on this kid and what radicalizes people. That's crazy. I see you. I appreciate that you're allowed to have your opinion, but I'm going to talk about this, and it's important. I'm not sitting here eulogizing Charlie Kirk. This matters. This is affecting our society. If everybody's talking about this, if this is dividing us, then like we should get the details out there. We should get it right. It's a crazy thing to say, to like not talk about this. I think that's crazy.
Imagined genetically innate evilness of femininity. But they can do better than that. They can ditch all womanhood whatsoever. They love femboys. Aesthetically pretty, max gooner appeal, no women to be found. It's very common for far-right extremists to be kind of gay and very homophobic. So at a certain point, if you try to tell them they're just jealous because they can't get a girlfriend.
For the record, for the Republicans that are like, this is how fucking broken you are. I said the shooter was apolitical. I'm not saying the shooter. This is the binary of your life. Anthony, I'm talking to you specifically. This is the binary in how your mind works. I said shooter apolitical, not on the left. You go, that means that you said that he's on the right. No, it doesn't. Your brain's broken. You're obsessed with team sports. This is like a real thing that happened. This kid was raised in a cult by very Mormon conservative parents who taught him that being gay, that being trans was a sin against God. He grew up in a racist cult, and for most of his life he was in that cult, and something broke. And what seems to have broke him is his attraction to somebody of a different sex. Maybe. We don't even know. Like, we don't even know if his partner was trans or a femboy. We still don't entirely know. There is most of a majority of America, when you include independents and people that don't vote, are apolitical. It is not as binary as you make it out to be. There are not Democrats and Republicans. There are millions of Americans who don't give a fuck about that. So I want to be clear on this. I don't think that this kid was on the right, and I don't think this kid is on the left. I think he was raised conservative, which is what gave him his access to weapons and his prowess with weapons. And I think that going through deconstruction like he was, maybe he didn't have help. He processed this in a very unhealthy way, and he did a horrific thing. But my point is that this kid clearly, from every example, this person is not on a side. That the casings from the bullet casings, those aren't right or left. In fact, they're initially they seemed like Groyper adjacent. They seemed maybe alt-right. But then you see some of his other actions, you're like, I don't know, I don't think it's really alt-right. But I do know this, the only thing left about this kid that any evidence, there is zero evidence that he was left, unless you believe that being gay or being pro or being trans oriented, whatever the fuck that means, makes you on the left. That's the only evidence. You can't even say that his assassination of Charlie Kirk puts him on the left, because there are people on the right who hate Charlie Kirk just as much. And only one person ever assassinated him. So how do we know that it's the right or the left? When there's people on the right that hate him, there's people on the left that hate him. We don't know. And I'd like to say one more time, and we'll say it over and over, it is not a political ideology to accept gay people or trans-oriented people exactly as they are, just like we're accepted. It is you that is you rejecting these people, that is ideological. We, on this side, there's nobody that's rejected. There's not an identity that's rejected. You have made it political by trying to make sure that certain people, because of how they identify, don't have rights. It's only political on your side, but the rest of the world that isn't like a Christian conservative, they don't view that as political. Your religion is not political. Your religion is your religion. I don't have to buy into it. And my decision not to buy into your religion isn't political. It's evidence-based. You don't have any, so I don't buy it. There's atheists on your side too. There's Republican atheists. There are Republicans who are trans. There are Republicans who have no problem with trans people having rights. The only way that evidence could say that somebody's on the left, you have to then acknowledge that even Caitlyn Jenner is on the left. You have to acknowledge that. You have no other choice. Otherwise, you can't say that this person is on the left because of their sexuality. You can't. By the way, Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary, gay. He must be on the left. Also was trained by George Soros, which is going to get real tricky when they start trying to find this money trail, and the money trail leads to Donald Trump's #1 economic advisor. It's going to be weird.
Validated their perception that you don't even understand them and they shouldn't take you seriously. I wish they knew that normal society doesn't mind who these people are attracted to, because these communities end up gatekeeping their own queerness from each other for no reason whatsoever. They'll bend over backwards to be misogynists. And when they start seeing all normal people as objects they hold nothing but this disgust for, like bugs, that's when they go to school and don't come out.
Yeah. Some understanding would go a long way. Some compassion from their parents. Not trying to blame the parents, but when your kid comes home and they're saying hey, I don't like what Charlie Kirk is saying about gay people, maybe don't just dismiss them as somebody who's been radicalized who changed their political positions. As somebody who's had family relationships destroyed because I have different opinions, and that is brushed off as not real, and that I've been indoctrinated, by the way, by a bunch of people in a cult, it's not helpful. It doesn't help. Here's Cash Patel, and they are desperate. The Republicans are desperate to, one, paint this person as a left-wing as left-wing, and then also include everybody on the left in this, so that now they can start trying to take away the rights of people on the left and force them into a Christian cult.
Written note, did he write a written note before the assassination attempt? That's what the governor said yesterday. And what did that say, if you could share?
So what I'm able to say, I'm sorry. So what I'm able to say is, I addressed it partially earlier, is that the written note, we believe, did exist, and we have evidence to show what was in that note, which is, and I'm going to summarize, basically saying, the suspect wrote a note saying, I have the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it. That note was written before the shooting. Evidence of its existence, we now have learned, existed before the shooting, was in the location in the suspect and partner's home. But we have since learned that the note, even though it has been destroyed, we have found forensic evidence of the note, and we have confirmed what that note says because of our aggressive interview posture at the FBI.
Do you see the conclusions they're willing to draw? And then after they draw these conclusions that they're on the left, they tell you about some note that allegedly exists. We listened to that press conference yesterday. They referenced the note. I don't have any. I don't know. Do they have a picture of it? Are they going to release a picture of that note? We have no idea if it exists. I just wanted to show this because this is where they're going now. Ted Cruz was on with Caitlin Collins. It was a disaster. And what Republicans are having a hard time with right now is that their entire story, their entire narrative here is one, bullshit, and two, it's like them trying to adopt the victimhood of Charlie Kirk and make this an all-out war on them. It's pathetic. It honestly is. To take a tragedy like an assassination and make it about you is honestly pathetic. But Caitlin Collins tried her best. This is the first time in a long time I've seen somebody get under her skin. But here's Ted Cruz trying to explain the casings. And just notice, like, they never have a good argument. If you believe that the casings put this person firmly on the left, then, like, I think you're just biased. Because there's no political ideology tied to that. I tried to tie it, like, I had initially, admittedly, thought it was a Groyper thing. Like, I can't even conclusively tie it to Groypers. Like, it's hard to figure out where these memes are coming, and it looks like it's just shit posting. It's almost like not everything is political. I had the same problem that a lot of you guys had. Like, I looked at this through like right versus left initially. And the more I got into it and the less I was able to place this kid anywhere, I realized, like, you know what? I'm a little I think I'm a little nearsighted here. I need to zoom out. He could be in any other group, or he could be apolitical. This could be any number of things. But I tried to figure out what side he was on, and I couldn't. And if you say that you know what side he's on, I think you're being dishonest. If you're saying that you think he's on a side based on the evidence, I think you're being dishonest. If you're guessing, you just admit that you're guessing. But the evidence is not conclusive here. Oh, let me read these two real quick. Johnny said, I love you all. Love you too, Johnny. Tessie said, half Americans. Greggy said, Oompa Loompa Doopity D. Let's spice it up and this time include P. All right. And Amy said, again, going after sanctuary cities for something that happens more in red states. Cheyenne, Wyoming, most sex offenders per capita just start pointing in a mirror when accusing. Guy Fox said, just because you blessed us with your angel-like singing voice earlier. Thanks. Mary said, we need an afternoon laughter. Cash sucks. And Bamarilla, I think I got, said thank you.
Yeah, as Todd Blanch, the Deputy Attorney General, just said, right now they don't have any evidence of an organization. Obviously, they're still looking into this. But on the bullet casings, I don't remember there being a transgender one on there. I remember him saying there was one that said, if you can read this, you're gay. It was referencing internet memes. But on what you just said there about investigating,
there is. Hold on a second, Caitlin. There is a transgender
if there is funding.
Hold on, Caitlin. Caitlin, there is a transgender. There's a reference to. Do you see my bulge, which is, I'm told, is an online meme for trans.
First of all, you quoted it wrong. It's not "Do you see my bulge?"
Transgenderism and direct.
And it's a furry meme. And we shouldn't expect a man who looks like this to understand the difference between somebody who is transgender and a furry. But you could feel it's like you can have a bulge and not be transgender as a furry. In fact, everybody with a dick in a furry costume would have a bulge. And if you're in a full costume, you don't know who is under the costume anyways, right? It's not a transgender thing, but he doesn't know. It's just like, furry is trans, right? That's the same thing. And his staff's like, yeah, go on CNN and say that. Got it.
Dr. Patel testified that the murderer here was living with his romantic partner who was a transgender man transitioning to being a woman. And
yeah, which is a crazy thing for Cass Patel to say, because when they've come out with the evidence, that doesn't appear to be true. They don't seem to have any evidence that they've submitted that this was a transgender person, but more importantly, it doesn't fucking matter. I think if I was a member of the transgender community, I would be really disheartened with how this has happened. This person who did the shooting told their partner after, and the partner was shocked. The partner was astonished. Can you explain that to like the transgender people in this country, why they are being demonized? What do the transgender people do? They're not even like just exist. The claim here seems to be that this happened to Charlie Kirk because the shooter cared about a transgender person, and we need to put a stop to that? You know what I mean? Like, no matter what transgender people do, they catch strays. It's this all the time. You say, you want men and women's sports. Nope. And that has nothing to do with transgender people. You want men in women's bathroom. Nope. And that also has nothing to do with transgender people. It seems like almost every attack on transgender people is America choosing not to blame a white het man. Almost every time. Who committed this act of violence? A Christian, born and raised conservative, white dude. Not a trans person. No evidence that this was about ideology. In fact, just said that Charlie Kirk was hateful. If his partner is a femboy and he identifies as gay, then this wouldn't be about trans. This wouldn't be about trans issues at all. This would be about gay issues, right? If he took it personal to that point. The quickness in which we were able to go and demonize trans people is just even more proof that you are fascist. Remember when we read the definition of fascist earlier before everything crashed? But one of the things is scapegoating specific marginalized community. And in this case, the Republicans don't go an hour without scapegoating trans people. Trans people had nothing to do with this. Charlie Kirk had something to do with it. The shooter had something to do with it. That's about it. Trans people had nothing to do with this. What are they catching strays for? It's almost like you guys are bigots and you don't require any sort of evidence for your bigotry. Just like, I feel bad that we're even talking about it on CNN, on national TV. Even the argument, I was trying to picture this like if I was a trans person, even the argument, like you go on TV and they're like, this was somebody who was steeped in trans ideology. And the pushback is, we don't even know if this person was trans. That gives the impression that like the real problem is that we haven't identified if they're trans yet. Maybe if they are, then it's a problem. Okay, well, let's say that this partner is identified as trans. What did the partner do? What did they do to cause this? Exist? This is why we say bigot. This is why we say homophobic. This is why we say fascist. You guys fit the definition in every way. Nothing about this situation has anything to do with trans people unless you're saying Charlie Kirk's bigotry got this person so upset that he did it. And in which case, again, I'm not going to victim blame Charlie Kirk for that. I'm not. Again, free speech exists. You're allowed to say things, and you shouldn't be, as abhorrent as it is, you shouldn't be killed for that. But none of this has to do with trans people. And like our country still doesn't even know how, like we don't even know how to have the discussion. And I'm part of this too. Like I admittedly, in trying to have some self-reflection, that my response to the stuff on when it came out that he had a trans partner, my response was to go to those people and be like, you don't even know yet. Like that hasn't been confirmed. You're saying this already. That shouldn't have been the response. The response from all of us probably should have been like, why the fuck does that matter? How does that make a fucking difference? What we should know is if the partner was like openly encouraging this, saying, yeah, you got to take out Charlie Kirk in my honor. That's what we should care about. We took an individual and we applied an individual whose identity was unknown and whose gender was unknown. And we took that and we looped in every other trans person. So we've got a problem on our side on the left because we didn't communicate it correctly. But you guys, Jesus fucking Christ, you were so quick to do this. And when the response from Republicans when they're like, the first thing, it was Steven Crowder came out and said the bullet casings had like trans ideology on it. And Republicans across the board were like, fucking, of course, dude. Of course. Why did you say of course? Because you've also been lied to. And they keep telling you that there's like this epidemic of trans people who are committing violence. They commit violence at lower rates than virtually any other group. Like they're not committing mass violence at high rates. It's just that every time a trans person commits a crime, you guys talk about it for a month straight like it's a fucking epidemic. Like we're not supposed to know there's 350 million people in this country. Every single day, almost like every single day for any large community, somebody in their community commits a crime. You probably can't say that about trans people. You probably can't. It's too small of a population. We're so fucking broken, and you guys are so desperate to scapegoat anybody but your own party. And this is why we're a little bit fucked right now. That's why our economy is fucked right now. That's why our country can't come together, and why you guys sat back yesterday and watched the vice president show up and say, everybody's got to come together, but the only way we can come together is if you all accept Christ as your savior and that Christ was born from a virgin mother and died for your sins. And if you can't do that, we can't come together. That's what the vice president said yesterday. You took this opportunity, you scapegoated a group of people, and now you're trying to force your fucking sky daddy down our throat. And by the way, J.D. Vance's version of Christianity is a fucking hellhole. Hope you're not a woman. You're not going to like J.D. Vance's Christianity if you're a woman. You don't get to vote anymore. I guarantee you're not going to be able to get divorced anymore. If you get pregnant, doesn't matter how you get pregnant, doesn't matter if it was forced upon you or not, you don't get an option with that either. We're legitimately like, everybody that saw J.D. Vance, that saw Handmaid's Tale was like, motherfucker, are they doing it? Are they just doing Handmaid's Tale now? I've been seeing people high up in the orthodoxy movement being platformed by Piers Morgan all the time now. We're just rolling out these alt-right white psychos, and nobody's pushing back on them, being like, hey, what do you actually believe? Tell me about your actual beliefs. While we have this conversation about trans people, why don't you tell me about your opinion on whether or not women can vote? And then when they tell you they don't think women should vote, then maybe we compare. Okay, who's more dangerous in this country, you or a trans person? Oh, probably you. By leaps and fucking bounds. Who commits the most crime? Christian extremists. They're the ones out there that are doing these mass shootings. They're the ones that are doing targeted hate crimes the most. When I said crime, I should have said targeted hate crime, not crime in general. Targeted hate crimes. It's Christian extremists. I see today the conservatives are up in arms because people are going to like Charlie Kirk vigils and they're mocking them. Someone painted over one. I'm sorry. I remember George Floyd. I'm sorry. I remember you guys painting over LGBTQ signs and statues. I'm sorry. I remember just recently when the Department of Defense said that Harvey Milk can't have a ship named after him anymore because we don't agree with that ideology. Guys, you're out there, like, you do this all the time. This is what you do. And when you do it, you celebrate it. And when somebody does it to you, you throw a fit. You're allowed to say awful things in this country. You guys, though, on the right, you got to toughen the fuck up. Amy said after going, I read that one, I think. What FOD said, what evidence can we even trust about CK and the FBI? I don't know. It's a good question. Also, Sophia said, congrats, growing 300 subscribers today, hitting 191K subscribers today. I did not know. Thank you. Appreciate that. Check here as well. Soup for my fam says he thinks people loving a trans person is weird, though. Yeah. Oh, sorry. There we go. Cruz indulges in mother-son material. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. All right. Here's Ted Cruz again, and then he just loses it. And this is, by the way, this is a sign, and that Kash Patel, Ted Cruz. There's a theme here. What Republicans are struggling to do right now is answer simple questions. And when they can't answer simple questions, they get frustrated and they get mad at the person asking because they want people to just accept what they're saying as truth. And when they get any pushback right now, because they don't have answers, they get frustrated. And that's what you're going to see here with Ted Cruz. Caitlin Collins simply asking questions. Ted Cruz is going to lose his fucking mind. The amount of times I've seen a Republican get pushback and go, come on, man, this week has been laughable. That's basically what it is. They're like, this guy's clearly a left-wing radical. Okay, what's your evidence of that? Well, gay. Anything else? Come on. That's the argument so far.
With the shell casing that directly references transgenderism. And in fact, Charlie Kirk was murdered moments after he was asked a question about transgender mass shootings. And that's when the shooter filed. And so do we have conclusive proof at this case?
Well, hold on,
no,
Senator.
But I will say this. Some of the most disturbing polling numbers that I see are the number of Democrats who believe that
Senator,
this left-wing activist was somehow a Republican. I mean, that really shows the media not doing the job they should.
There's no polling on that. There is no polling that says the amount of Democrats that think this is a right-wing activist, unless he has something that he's not citing. I looked for it. I don't think that poll exists. I think he's confusing the poll we covered earlier in the show, and he fucked it up right there. I don't think that poll exists, unless it's like a Twitter poll.
Be doing.
Okay, Senator, but one moment, because you said a lot there, and we don't have a motive yet. We don't know yet. We're waiting. Obviously, we've heard what the governor's had to say, what the FBI director said today.
Come on, we don't have a motive yet.
We know.
We don't have a motive yet.
What's
really?
happening with?
Really, that's CNN's position.
I mean, from law enforcement,
he just happened
Senator.
to fire the gun in celebration. You can't tell the motive.
Senator,
here.
That's not what I said, and I said law.
That's crazy. Of course, that's not what she said. She said we don't know the motive. Oh, so he shot the gun in celebration? The fuck? No, everybody knows that he shot it. We're talking about motive. If he didn't shoot it in celebration, he did it because he's a left-wing radical. They don't have arguments, but it's very telling that this entire party can be entirely convinced with, trust me, bro. Trust me on this one. And they're totally convinced and can't be talked out of it.
Enforcement hasn't laid out a direct motive. They've laid out a lot of evidence here of these messages and what
actually,
the
they
shooter
have.
said
They've said that he was a left-wing activist who hated Charlie Kirk.
No, they didn't. They never said he was a left-wing activist who hated Charlie Kirk. What they said is he seemed to move left because he was pro-gay and trans-oriented, and he hated Charlie Kirk. But again, going back, we're going to say this over and over again, being pro-gay and trans-oriented, if you believe that puts you on the left, then you have to admit that you are homophobic and transphobic, and there is no place for the LGBTQ community on your side of the aisle. Because that is the only evidence. That is the standalone evidence. So that evidence has to be applied evenly if you're going to conclude that this person is on the left. You can't, if you are saying that you're a Republican here and that's what I'm saying. Like, I appreciate it, Baja Rob. I appreciate it. But I need you to say then that Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, is not on the left or is not on the right. That he's not with you. He's on the left. I need you to say that Peter Thiel is on the left. I need you to say that Caitlyn Jenner is on the left. I need you. Is Scott? Is it Pressler? I need you to say that they're on the left.
We've got a new subscriber.
He was registered unaffiliated, Baha Rob. He was registered unaffiliated. We don't know who he voted for. I have no idea. But you could also vote for Kamala Harris and not be on the left. He's apolitical. This is not a political kid. There's zero evidence that he was political outside of his mom identifying being gay as on the left because because his parents are in a right-wing, racist, homophobic, transphobic cult. Their belief system is that is evil. I'm talking about Mormonism. That is their belief system. So I don't take their word. Sorry, I grew up with Mormons. My family's Mormon. They're not very level-headed on this.
Pardon?
Senator, with all due respect, you know exactly what I'm saying. I'm not arguing with you politically. I'm saying that law enforcement has not put a specific motive. You know that there's a difference of what they're putting in a legal argument than what you're talking about. And you're not even we're not even arguing about the facts here.
What you just said is false,
Senator
Caitlin.
I want to point out to the right-wingers in the chat, Notice none of you are refuting anything I say. You just keep saying, I'm crazy, I'm nuts. You guys are just like Ted Cruz, except for nobody knows who the fuck you are. You're just as dumb. You're just as lost, but nobody knows who the fuck you are. I'm watching your chats. I'm waiting for one of you to like give me a different argument, but all your argument is, this guy is crazy. That's a sign that you may be ideologically driven here right now, that you don't have a very good argument. You are the, come on, man, just believe us.
Caitlin, facts. Hold on a second. Let me answer your statement, because what you said is factually
Senator, with all
false.
due respect,
law enforcement.
With all due respect, you're
don't
putting
want
a
facts.
lot of statements
okay, go ahead.
that I did not say. And I want to get back to, we just laid out the facts.
You
in the
just
opening
said
of the
law
show,
enforcement has
what we
not made out a motive.
today.
That is objectively
and we just spoke to the
false.
Deputy Attorney General.
That is
He was
objectively
clearly active in Antifa.
He was clearly active in Antifa. It's very public out there, including his girlfriend/boyfriend. Where is it? There's no, you don't sign in as a member to Antifa? Shut the fuck. Mutella, I appreciate it. My language is not what killed Charlie Kirk. I heard the confirmation, and it turns out it was a bullet. The bullet that killed Charlie Kirk. So I'm glad we get that straight.
False.
They
what
have not
you
set
are
a
saying
concrete
is
motive of
objectively
exactly
false,
what it was.
and
They've laid out
CNN
every
should not be
evidence that we
engaged
know
in
so far.
misinformation. Caitlin, answer my question.
It's not
Have you seen the
misinformation,
polling
Senator.
that shows the vast majority of
you were
Democrats
taking what I
believe
said
this murderer is a
about
Republican and
that.
a Trump supporter? Have you seen that polling?
Let me get back to my questions, though, Senator, because the question here
You're not going to answer that
was
question?
actually
Are you going to answer
what
that
you were
question?
saying
You
about
have seen that
investigations that you'd like to see.
So you're not going to
Senator,
answer the
I'm the
question.
one asking the questions here, and the question.
They want to talk about anything else. They just don't want to answer questions. He's getting his pants pulled down. He doesn't have an answer for this. It's all trust me. Did you see this poll? Did you see that YouGov poll? Yeah. Did that YouGov poll? Did anybody that took that YouGov poll kill Charlie Kirk? No. And by the way, he's lying. If any of you missed this, let me pull this back up. Every Republican that you've heard today say that 24% of young liberals believe that violence is justified. Just so you know, every fucking Republican repeating that today is lying to your fucking face. And if you are not a cucky bitch, you'll admit it. And if you are a cucky bitch, you'll keep repeating it and you won't call them out. But we showed you earlier today the actual polling. They say, the question is, do you generally consider it to be acceptable or unacceptable for a person to be happy about the death of a public figure they oppose? Not, do you think it's justified to do political violence? The question that these people were asked is, do you think it's acceptable or unacceptable for a person to be happy about the death of a public figure they oppose? And 24% of very liberal, which would probably not be Democrats, very liberal would be like socialists or communists, 24% said, yes, it's okay to be happy about it. So Ted Cruz is lying. And every Republican out there telling you that they said that 24% of these kids are saying it's okay to kill people for having a different ideology, they're lying to you. Just like everything else they've lied about here. They're lying because they want control. They know that you're stupid. They know that you won't fact check things. And they know that you'll follow what they say because you have already been conditioned to hate and demonize trans people and the left. And so whatever they say, none of you fact check it. You just go online and you start screaming. At least 500 comments today have referenced that exact poll incorrectly. At least 500. And Ted Cruz, he's a fucking senator, one of 100. You would expect that one of 100 people would at least check to see if what he's saying is true, which it's not.
No, we're having a conversation. I understand that you want to say things that are factually false, and then you don't actually want the facts. You don't actually want the facts laid out. Okay, give your speech.
That's not true, Senator. I'm asking you a question.
Go ahead. I don't know what your question is because
I was talking over you.
Because you're in England, so I can't hear what you're saying.
He's not going to answer the question, by the way, just so we know. He never does answer that question. All right. I want you to, this is where it starts getting sick. So this is Todd Blanch, the guy who interviewed Trump's personal attorney, who then interviewed Ghislaine Maxwell, and who definitely had nothing to do with her getting moved to a private or a better prison. It just happened to happen right after. Now it's getting serious. Now we're getting to the fascism part, and we're going to find out in the chat real quick who the fascists are. So the people who are agreeing with Todd Blanch here, those are the fascists, and it's clear, and we need to make that clear. What he's about to advocate for is 100% fascism.
As you know, RICO has been used to go after like Al Qaeda, MS-13, the Gambino family. How would something like that protest fall under a RICO charge?
The reason they're bringing this up is because this administration is floating the idea that the death of Charlie Kirk, they're going to investigate it as RICO, which is like racketeering. Again, like she said, it's how they brought down the Gambino family. It's also how they investigated Donald Trump for election fraud. That was a RICO case. The point of a RICO case is that with organized crime or like events like this, it's not always super clear. There's not always like a step-by-step how people are connected. So what you'll do is you'll take all the crimes committed by all of these people and you'll kind of put them together as one movement. But it's hard to prove a RICO case. You've got to be able to prove that there's like this top-down approach, that it's organized. And what they're saying now, what J.D. Vance said yesterday and what Todd Blanch is going to say today, what Pam Bondi said, what Kash Patel said, is that they are going to use the death of Charlie Kirk to take anybody like myself or any political commentator who agrees with the ideology of the shooter and who gives cover, I guess, by speaking our minds, that we are now part of a deep criminal conspiracy. This is what Hitler did. He took all of his political opponents. He said that their opposition to him was a crime, and he threw them all in concentration camps. He locked them all up. Every fascist who has ever existed, it starts with mass jailing of your opponents. And you can look at Trump, but let's be clear, nobody went to jail. The Jan 6ers did, and they committed a crime. Trump never went to jail, and Trump absolutely committed crimes. Nobody tried to bring down the Republican Party. Nobody tried to loop in Sean Hannity and Tucker Carlson and Ben Shapiro and Charlie Kirk. They allowed Donald Trump's crimes to stand on their own. Now you are taking an unregistered voter who is clearly apolitical and trying to create a criminal conspiracy to legitimately lock up anybody on the left. This is scary.
That's not what we use RICO for only. RICO is available to all kinds of organizations committing crimes and committing wrongful acts, not just organized crime.
I've already defined fascism. My computer crashed earlier, but if you go watch the first half of the show, I went over the 14 tenets of fascism. You can go back and watch that. I'm not going to redo it for you.
Or ISIS or terrorist organizations. And so it depends. So is it, again, sheer happenstance that individuals show up at a restaurant where the president is trying to enjoy dinner in Washington, D.C., and accost him with vile words and vile anger, and meanwhile he's simply trying to have dinner?
I'm sorry. We want to lock people up now for chanting at the president? Raise your hand, Republicans, if you think that it is a good idea to lock people up for chanting at the president. I just want to see in the chat, my conservative MAGA friends, hands up. Just show me your hand if you think it's a good idea to lock people up for chanting free DC, free Palestine. Trump is the Hitler of our time. Is that a offense worth being locked up for? Let's see those hands. Loud and proud, folks. Loud and proud.
Does it mean it's just completely random that they showed up? Maybe, but to the extent that it's part of an organized effort to inflict harm and terror and damage to the United States, there's potential.
Those 4 women were such a threat to Donald Trump, surrounded by armed guards. Even if they were paid, it's still not a crime. Somebody can pay you to protest. Trump has paid people to protest. Democrats have paid people to protest. People get paid to protest all the time. I don't like it. It's not a crime. Even if what he was saying was true, it's still not a crime. And they want not only the protesters locked up, but the people who funded it. We are in a country where Republicans are advocating for rule of law that says if you openly and publicly criticize the president or shout at him, you will be thrown in jail. North Korea is looking at us going, God damn, guys, chill. Chill. Fucking easy. Putin's going, shit. Trump, calm down, dude. That's a little too far for us.
Potential investigations there, and that's what the president was saying yesterday in the Oval Office, and what he also has said in the days before that as well.
But were those women in the restaurant inflicting harm or terror or damage by protesting the president of the United States? I mean, they were just shouting basically in his vicinity.
I mean, repeat what you just said. I mean, honestly, so you're asking whether there's damage done by 4 individuals screaming and yelling at the president of our United States while he's trying to have dinner.
Yeah. What's the damage? What's the damage? By the way, it wasn't when he was having dinner. He was leaving. He was done with dinner. They were on their way out. Yeah, what's the damage?
Well, when Donald Trump's feelings get hurt, then all of our feelings get hurt together because we collectively are all Donald Trump, and we can't have deal with those fifis getting hurt. It makes us so mad, so that's a harm.
Shouting? You want to lock people up for shouting? You thin-skinned bitches. Jesus fucking Christ. You don't get to ever call anybody a snowflake ever again. You're done. You guys are the bitchiest of bitches that have ever existed.
They said words to him that we didn't like, and they said them in a wild way. They need to go to jail. I don't like them.
That can't be a serious question. That cannot be a serious question. I mean, it's true that there's a difference between shouting and...
Who the fuck is this guy? You can't be serious. You can't possibly think that there was no damage done from shouting. Think of his eardrums. He already had a bullet wound to his ear. Think of his ears. 10 years in jail, please.
Committing an assassination,
There were supporters outside
which is what
as
happened
well.
to Charlie.
Wait, now they need to go to jail because Charlie Kirk died like a week later. Are you serious? They yelled at Trump and then Charlie Kirk died. Do you not connect those two things? No, we don't, because we're not fucking idiots. That's why, because they're not connected at all. What?
Well, it depends. There's nothing wrong with peaceful protests, and nobody has ever said so. Of all the people in this,
you got to do it quietly. Yelling at Donald is bad. Attacking the Capitol, good. It's okay to beat up the police. Just don't yell at Donald, because his feelers will get hurt. And don't criticize him for January 6th, neither, because that hurts his feelings too. If you gotta go jail for that too.
Jesus Christ! I got a 5-year-old. I don't gentle parent my kid as much, and I'm soft. I'm soft as shit as a dad. Like I'm a girl dad. She walks all over me, and even I'm going, ooh, a little far. Mama said they used to make fun of DSA. Now they're snowflake babies. Amy said, so Trump is sticking stones may break my bones, but names will make me crumble. He did a little turd in his pants, probably. I bet that's what happened. It made him shit his pants publicly, and somebody that he wanted to impress saw it. Now they know. Diamond said, here's a little more support for your team. As a Canadian, this shit makes me really depressed. I wish you guys will stop fighting. Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be so cool.
President Trump knows exactly what it's like to have people protest against him. But what he's talking about and what the administration is talking about is organized efforts by individuals who are not present at the protests, but they're funded.
They said the chants the same way. They said the same words. They practiced it. It's okay if you show up by yourself, but if you practice your chills, then that's against the law. You got to go to jail. It's straight to jail because you practiced them.
These protests, and they're not protests. They're inflicting damage and harm and actually assaulting officers. They're damaging vehicles. And that's the...
What? No, they were in a restaurant and they were chanting something. They didn't assault officers. You might be confusing them with January 6th right now. This is incoherent. I don't know what dirt Trump has on this guy. Todd Blanch is smarter than this. Can you imagine if you're going to go on TV tonight, Todd? Okay, sounds good. With Caitlin Collins. Oh, she's great. I like Caitlin Collins. What do you want me to say? I want you to say, you know those people that were yelling at Trump? Yeah, I remember them. I want you to say they need to go to jail. Excuse me? Yeah, you need to go on with Caitlin and tell her that because they were organized, they have to go to jail. Oh, okay. Got it, boss. And then he just went on and laid a fucking egg because this is insane. And if we do fascism, we'll forever be remembered as like the dumbest fascism ever. There's not even a real divide. There's not even a real divide in this country. You guys made up a divide, pretended that you were at war, pretended you were being attacked, and then started locking people up for speech. Look what Ted Cruz did on the Senate floor. Because he's a good boy. There's a Ted Cruz. He's a good boy.
And
by the way, you can call. You can. Message Jen on Discord. See that? The V up there? The Venmo username? Just message that username on Discord, and you can come up here and talk to me. You're welcome every day. Amy said, "Do they not remember Let's Go Brandon or lock her up? Not our fault. You can't use the F word." Well, organizing's only bad on the left, guys. By the way, ironic, I said this yesterday, but like, it was crazy for them to be like, there's all this dark money funneling the left. Who the fuck is rich that's funneling money to the left? Rich people don't want leftist policies. They don't want higher taxes. They don't want bigger social programs. They don't want labor. They don't want more aggressive labor laws. They don't want any of that stuff. Like George Soros gives some money. Charlie Kirk's budget was $140 million. There's not you could take all the biggest Charlie Kirks on the left, all of them, and their budget wouldn't come close to $140 million a year. It's probably triple the total budget of all the left-wing content creators. We don't. Nobody on our side has a budget. Nobody wants to fund us. But right-wing billionaires, Peter Thiel, big oil, they love that. They love funding people who will go out there and run cover for them. Yeah, the billionaires are not the bad ones. It's the poors. The billionaires are like, nice. I don't even have to say it. I just have to give them money. They'll do whatever I tell them to do. All right, here's Ted Cruz announcing a new idea for some legislation.
Shell casings have multiple references to slogans that Antifa has popularized. I believe there is considerable money.
I forgot that. Now they're Antifa slogans. These memes are Antifa now, guys. What the fuck? Honestly, honest to God, what the fuck? Is this a joke? This one's a little bit elaborate, Ashton Kutcher. This one's a little too this one's not so believable. These are clearly Antifa. Thanks. Everybody who's ever posted these memes ever is like, oh fuck, I didn't know I was Antifa.
Funding it. I would note that I've introduced legislation called the Stop Funders Act. Stop Funders Act would add rioting to the list of predicate offenses under RICO. I believe the money should be tracked and prosecuted under RICO, and both the Antifa and Black Lives Matter riots of a couple of years ago and the pro-open border riots in Los Angeles and other cities of this past year.
Not January 6th, though. Definitely not January 6th. Definitely not the Unite the Right rally. Definitely not any of these massive protests on the right that turned violent. We're not going to track the funding there, but the pro-open borders riots of Los Angeles. Come on, man. They were so small. It was pro-open border.
I believe there was significant money behind those riots. I'm not the only person who noticed at the anti-Semitic protests and violent protests on college campuses that many of the tents all matched. And so I would ask, would it aid?
It's Coleman. It's fucking Coleman. Somebody go get Coleman. They're behind this. They all sent out their matching Coleman tents. By the way, let's see if that's true. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at campus protests, Palestine. Let's go. Let's just look at the images here. I can't help but notice that all the tents matched. All right. Well, here's the first one. None of those tents match. How about this one? Couple green, different shades of green. These aren't all the same tents. That appears to be a child's tent. That's like a pop-up tent. There's at least 3 or 4 different colors of green. That's a tarp. Huh. How about this one? This one will do it. Oh, nope, those don't match. Okay, finally. All right, a couple of these match. There we go. Fucking Coleman. It's Goldman. It wouldn't possibly be that the people who organized this bought all the tents at the same store. That couldn't be it. It couldn't. It's a conspiracy. Their tents match because George Soros has a tent company. It wouldn't possibly be because they all went to the same store or like a couple people bought the tents. I mean, how pathetic are we at this point?
Your ability to prosecute these matters.
REI is Antifa. That's right.
Congress passed into law the Stop Funders.
I missed your donuts. Oh, there it is. The right claims the left are snowflakes, but the right got people fired for hate speech against Charlie Kirk. The hypocrisy is real. Oh, dude, they loved that shit. They loved that shit. They were holding lives on TikTok trying to get people fired.
Act, and if rioting was added to the list of predicate offenses for RICO.
Yes.
We've got a new subscriber.
Oh, no. By the way, the same day that Republicans, ironically today, are out there upset that Turning Point USA was investigated for their role in January 6th because they bust people in. They weren't charged with anything. They just got investigated to see if they had any role in the attacks on the Capitol. And they're mad about that today, which is exactly what they're asking for here. So it looks like these laws already exist, but they're not going to address that. Is rioting not allowed to be included in RICO? Like rioting, the real crimes with rioting, like rioting is not a crime. It's the destruction of property. I think those are already included in RICO. How would you even define rioting? Destruction of property, already a crime. It's never going to pass. It's not a real thing. Here's let's see. Yeah, we'll do this. All right. Since somebody called it an echo chamber earlier, and I want to get out of the echo chamber, so I'm going to show you Tucker Carlson. It's been pretty alarming to find myself agreeing with Tucker Carlson a lot lately, but here it is.
Year of their lives. And so naturally, most of them believe it. So when Charlie Kirk is shot in the throat with a 30-06 on camera, I doubt very many young Americans want to see something like that.
Thanks,
or actually applaud the death of a man, a father, a husband. But they've been told for their entire lives in schools exactly what Pam Bondi just told them. Well, there's free speech, but then there's also hate speech, and woe to those who engage in it because it's a crime. That's a lie. And it's a lie that denies the humanity of the people you're telling it about. And so any attempt to impose hate speech laws in this country, and trust me, there are a lot of people who would like them. There are a lot of people who'd like to codify their own beliefs by punishing those under the U.S. Code who disagree with their beliefs. Any attempt to do that is a denial of the humanity of American citizens and cannot be allowed under any circumstances. That's got to be the red line. Year of their life.
Yeah. You guys want to quell speech. You point to the Twitter files all you want. The Biden administration never forced anybody to not be able to say something. Trump tried to get Chrissy Teigen's tweet down, calling him a pussy-ass bitch, which is unfair because factually true. Pussy-ass bitch. It's factually accurate. He's not alone. Candace Owens is talking about this. Tom Tillis is talking about this. Members of Congress are talking about this. There's recently a country. Do you know an example of a country recently in Europe who had a fascist takeover where they went and they silenced their opposition. They started silencing speech. They went after the universities. They got them all shut down. They rewrote the Constitution. They went through the courts. They neutered the courts, and they forced them to start making sure that criticism became a crime. Do you know what country we're talking about? A lot of people are getting it right. Somebody got it right. Brianna, right-wingers, do you know what country that was? Somebody get rid of Jeff Buckley disciple. Jeff Buckley's gone. Thanks, Jeff Buckley. You don't really do anti-Semitism here. Anybody? Hungary. Everybody knows what happened in Hungary, right? With Viktor Orban. The good news is, though, like you guys aren't Viktor Orban. Republicans in the chat, will you give me a thumbs up if you think we should follow the path of Viktor Orban? If you think we should be more like Viktor Orban, I just want a thumbs up if you think we should be more like Viktor Orban. Nina said, thanks, RTP never stopped this important work. Appreciate you very much. Oh, I might have missed some Venmos. Jen sent a bunch. While we're going, I just want to see thumbs up if you think we should be more like Viktor Orban, or thumbs down if you think we shouldn't. Christy said, my daily Antifa dues. Brian said, Mr. Potato Head, Patel's conviction fund. Ryan said, for the show, appreciate you. Pink said, this country is an embarrassment and Cash Patel is a gargler. Jackie said, I needed this laugh. Okay, I got that one. I think we're caught up. All right. Mostly thumbs down. You know who does think we should be more like Viktor Orban, though? The guy who's probably going to be our next president. And I say that because I don't think Trump's gonna make it. But if he does, I don't think J.D. Vance will win.
Successfully dealing with the left-wing domination of universities is Viktor Orban's approach in Hungary. I think his way has to be the model for us, not to eliminate universities, but to give the choice between survival or taking a much less biased approach to teaching. He seized control of state universities and put them in foundations that were then run by his allies. Is that what you're advocating be done in the United States?
Well, Margaret, what you're seeing in the United States actually is that universities are controlled by left-wing foundations. They're not controlled by the American taxpayer, and yet the American taxpayer is sending hundreds of billions of dollars to these universities every single year.
I don't want
Is that a yes? It sounded like a yes. Do you think that these universities should be placed in the control of the president's allies? Well, we're already funding them. So
taxpayers controlling education necessarily. Is that what you're advocating for, federal government?
Margaret, what I'm advocating
control?
for is for taxpayers to have a say in how their money is spent. Universities are part of a social contract in this country. They educate our children. They produce important intellectual property. They get a lot of money because of it. But if they're not educating our children well and they're layering the next generation down in mountains of student debt, then they're not meeting their end of the bargain. I think it's totally reasonable to say there needs to be a political solution to that problem.
Okay, but the political solution, I agree with that, right? This is how J.D. Vance gets you guys. This is how, J.D. Vance will never give you a straight answer. And the reason that you guys like J.D. Vance and the reason that he comes across likable is because he never answers questions. He just does it generically. But J.D. Vance represents fascists. Peter Thiel is the only reason you know who J.D. Vance is. Peter Thiel groomed him in college. He put him in the private sector. He funded his venture that failed. Then he funded his Senate campaign. Then when J.D. Vance was not even considered as vice president, Peter Thiel convinced Donald Trump through money to make J.D. Vance vice president. And Peter Thiel doesn't want democracy. Peter Thiel thinks he and his friends should run the country. Not Donald Trump, by the way, just so you guys know. This is a fucking traitor. This is Benedict fucking Arnold to MAGA. They want a technocracy ruled by the tech leaders. Techno-fascism. They're open about it. Google. If you think I'm crazy right now, which I know that you do, Google Peter Thiel techno-fascism. Watch the connections. Google Peter Thiel democracy. See what you get. J.D. Vance is loyal to them. They put him in this position. Of course, J.D. Vance wants to control the universities because Peter Thiel's been saying that forever. Peter Thiel got his start grooming kids out of universities when he was at Stanford, where he wrote an op-ed that made him famous, where he said, you know what? You know who we're too hard on this country? Rapists. I think our statutory rape laws are, I think they're a little too strict. We need to open those up a little bit. We're too quick. We call things rape. Like we're a little iffy on consent. Like, there's a gray area there. We're too hard on rapists. We got to go easy on the rapists. Great choice to align with Trump, by the way, because if anybody's going to agree with you on we're too hard on rapists, it's going to be Trump. But that's who Peter Thiel is. And J.D. Vance is quoted saying, we need to do what Viktor Orban did. And when she asked, is this what you should do? He said, he didn't say no. He said, look, the universities are a problem. They're bearing people in debt. The taxpayers don't get to determine what you teach. What other choice do we have? I know. Not fascism. You want to fix the student debt crisis? Pay for fucking school. Use tax money and give people education. Then they don't have to take out student loan debt. That fixes your problem. You want more conservative teachers in school? Have more conservative people get a fucking degree. Have more conservative people go teach at schools. You know what there isn't? There isn't any evidence of conservatives being mass shut down applying to work at universities. In fact, most universities want to hire conservatives so that there is a balance, but conservatives don't want to go into education. And why would you go into education if you're conservative? Part of your belief system is that education is bad. Universities are too woke. You don't need to go to college. College is a scam. Conservatives don't want to teach at schools. So what's the solution? We need state control over the universities. We need what's frustrating for us is we need to be able to indoctrinate kids from the time they're born all the way through college, because if we don't indoctrinate them and we allow them to experience the world, they become lib. And we don't like lib. So we need to make sure that we indoctrinate them all the way through college. And by the way, if you say that kids are like indoctrinated to be liberal in college, let's talk about what that really means. What's the indoctrination, conservatives? What are they taught to believe that is problematic? Acceptance? Yeah, well, they're in here now. They go to college and then they're like, yeah, these immigrants aren't destroying our country. They've been indoctrinated. Yeah, now they have gay friends. Yeah, dude. One of them's trans now. Yeah, just acceptance, empathy, understanding of the world, understanding that like the United States isn't the world and that there's other things that happen outside of the United States and that those people are human beings too. Yeah, we can't let our kids be learning that. They need to be teaching about Christianity and no sex before marriage. That's what's important. It's very important that we control their testicles. Yeah. If conservatives wanted to teach at colleges, they could go teach at colleges. You have Liberty University, you have Brigham Young University, lots of these colleges. You know what happens? They can't get anybody to go to their colleges. You know why? Because conservatives don't go to college and liberals don't want to go there. So your only solution then is state control, to force liberals to have to hear your dog shit ideology that they already rejected when they left home. And you know what this is going to cause? It's going to cause a bunch of people to go to school overseas. And then you're going to have to make new laws because nobody's going to want to go to your dog shit schools and nobody's going to know math and nobody's going to know science. They're going to be like, how old is the earth? It is 3,000 years old. Dinosaurs aren't real. How do we get seasons? Jesus decides. Okay. Conservatism is anti-education. It's anti-curiosity. Conservatism by nature is don't change anything, don't change your beliefs, don't question anything, stay put. And with all the fear that you have, hold on for dear life and beg the world around you not to change. That's conservatism. You want to see how shitty we would be at medicine and science? We'd be fucked. We would be so fucked if they ran the universities. Just RFK out there handing out medical degrees. Do you believe in vaccination? No. Here you go.
America's universities still attract talent from around the world, as you've went to one of America's very top schools.
Look, there's still good things about American universities, but it's going in the wrong direction, Margaret.
But Viktor Orban in particular, as you know, I mean, he rewrote the Constitution, he neutered the courts, he has tried to control the media. These are not necessarily conservative principles. So
I cannot be held responsible for this. Amber says, shut the fuck up, Jen, in all caps, too. That's not on me.
Why would you want to mimic him?
Well, look, I'm not endorsing every single thing that Viktor Orban has ever done. I don't know everything he's ever done. What I do think...
Yeah, no shit, but you're endorsing this because we're asking about this and you're endorsing this. You're endorsing that your administration be able to take over all the colleges and decide what's taught. Do you see how snaky this motherfucker is? He never answers a question. I'm not saying that everything Viktor Orban did was perfect. No shit. But we're asking you about the universities. Do you want to do this? Yeah, I do. Okay, that's fascism.
I think that on the university principle, the idea that taxpayers should have some influence in how their money is spent at these universities, it's a totally reasonable thing, and I do think that he's made some smart decisions there that we could learn from the United States.
Well, he was just.
We got to learn from the great dictators of this world. Why are you cucky bitches so excited about dictatorship? I think that's mostly it for today. I didn't think there was. Let me see if there's any other ones on that. Yeah, I think that's it. All right, everybody. Tonight I will be back. I will be back tonight to debate over on TikTok. For any of you here who think I don't do open discussion, we'll be going till late tonight on TikTok. I'm going to do this thing tonight on TikTok. We'll see how Jen does. Where if the conversation's still going, I'm not going to let her end it, but I'm going to let her cut off the feed on YouTube. And she's probably not going to like that, and she's going to yell at me. But we'll see who wins that battle. I have my money on Jen, but I'm going to try my best. I'm going to put up a good fight. I do think that there needs to be some conversation on TikTok, more level-headed conversation, and a more nuanced conversation, and I hope we can provide that tonight. So 6 o'clock Pacific on TikTok, we'll be live with Admir. I think 6, right, Jen? Did he ever confirm?
Yeah.
He did confirm 6 o'clock?
Yeah, I think you'll be excited. I think it was Kit Carson supposed to be coming back.
Kit Carson?
The really calm guy that was on Admir's Live on Sunday. He's a conservative, a gay conservative.
Oh, Jesus, fuck. That guy's coming back?
I think he's supposed to be back, yeah.
I look forward to him, like, gish galloping every talking point he has into one sentence and not being able to have a conversation. That one won't last very long. That guy, maybe he'll be better not on a panel.
And I think Natalie's supposed to be back too.
All right, we'll see. All right, so 6 o'clock tonight over on TikTok. It'll be streamed live on YouTube. Do we stream it to Twitch too?
Yep.
Okay, so on Twitch or YouTube, I'll engage just with the TikTok chat. I won't see the YouTube chat, so make sure you're on TikTok if you want to engage, and that'll be on our channel on TikTok, not Admir's. They'll be there. Jen, any last words before we go?
Just Amber, I sent you a message into Switch. Smile, child.
Amber's getting called to the principal's office. Sorry, Amber. I'll defend you. I got your back. All right, guys. I'll be back in a few hours. I'm going to go take a nap. It's been a long day, and then I'll see you in a few hours. In the meantime, go support your favorite creators. Drink some water. Say something nice about yourself, and stay cute and cool. Have a great summer.